Hello there, hello there, hello there, everybody. How the devil are we all? I am sensationally well, I thank you for asking. Have we recovered from yesterday's excitement? I do hope so. And we've got plenty of reaction. I don't know why I put the emphasis on the word there that way. That was very strange. Anyway, yes, got more reaction to the election of Zack to the leadership of the Green Party, and potential personal changes because of that, let's say, which we'll get into shortly. Talking of shortly, Muffin Ali also got elected because he's short. He's a little man. We salute our tiny king. Yes, as well as Rachel. What's her fucking name? Rachel Millwood. Oh, Kev, your fucking memory's terrible. I'm glad I made notes. Fucking hell. Anyway, but how are we all? We well? What have we been up to? Yeah, so the first hour is going to be moi talking to talking to everyone, and then at 9, hopefully, No Justice will be on, who I think was probably quite happy about yesterday as well. I think so. Where we'll cover some breakdown from all of the things, and of course, literally covering the breakdown that the briefcases have had over the election of a vaguely leftist person to a position of any authority whatsoever. Who could have seen that coming? Oh yes, everybody. Who's a crumbling Cornish wafer? What? What does that mean? I don't know. Anyway. I've got an appointment for an audiology because I'm at risk of going deaf, apparently. Oh, shit. Well, I hope that goes well for you and that whatever medical issue is at play gets dealt with. I don't know what else to say other than hopefully the NHS works for you. Hopefully it still exists by the time you need it. I no longer have a 40-degree fever. I'm winning in life. You're not just winning in life. You're winning also resubscribing whilst I wasn't streaming. I can't give a duck. Don't try and sneak one past me there like I wasn't going to notice. Like I wasn't going to directly call you out for being a wrong'un. 18 months you've been with me, and you try to sly one past me. The Kev don't play that shit. Thank you. Anyway, if you wanted to, I can't give a duck, but more openly, so that it makes a noise. Although I will be turning the noise off for a brief few minutes at the start, because of reasons we'll get to. Yes, you can help out. It was an automatic resub. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. I can't give a duck. Okay? I won't hear it. Actually, I shouldn't have said I won't hear it, because that wasn't a play on the thing from a second ago. The actual medical concern that one of the listeners had. No. I was just saying I won't hear, as in I don't wish to believe the thing that you have said. Even though that also was a joke, and I don't really give a fuck either way. Because, like, my dad's from Birmingham and he speaks to me just like that when he's really annoyed with me. I just did a double take. Maybe I am your dad. In disguise. As not your dad. It's a fucking good disguise, I think. But, anyway. Fuck me. Right. You can, I hope your dad doesn't say that to you. Jesus Christ. You can help me out financially or otherwise by hitting the follow button here on twitch.tv/KFLogan1875. You can hit the follow button, you can subscribe with Amazon Prime, you can give subs to the community, you can do bits messages, 200 bits or more gets you a text to speech, you can do super chats, well, the Streamlabs link below, $2 or more, that gets you a text to speech. You can help me out on Patreon and or PayPal. I've got a Discord you can go and check out. I've got YouTube, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok and Threads. If you're on YouTube, hell the fuck oh YouTube. You can subscribe, you can hit the bell icon, you can thumb the video up, you can become a member for 99p, you can gift memberships to the community. And you can do super chats, which I will read out. Apparently you can also do other things, like super emotes or some shit. But I didn't... there was football on. I'm not fucking reading the email, YouTube, suck a dick. Anyway. Talking of emails, you'll be seeing one of my emails shortly. Oh, right then. Let us turn the alert box off, briefly. Because I'm going to be doing a bit which I might put up on YouTube, and so I don't need the noises and the distraction. And all of that jazz. Yeah. I only press that follow button to help you sexually, Kev. Well, I appreciate that, thank you. I do need help in that area too, clearly. I mean, look at me. Disgraceful. Anyway. Sweating? It's not even warm. Why am I sweating? Right. Boom. Yes. So, following yesterday's monumental win for Zack in becoming the leader of the Green Party of England and Wales, lest we forget. For all of the flag shaggers out there, there are other places in this country other than just England, don't you know? Anyway. Yes. After his monumental victory of over 80% in the poll against Chowns and Ramsay, I have gone and joined myself a political party. There it is. There is my acceptance email. I've joined the Green Party. Now, a few pieces of sort of, I don't know, housekeeping, if you will. I have joined the Green Party of England and Wales, because that is where I live. And, but I want you to know this doesn't change how I will approach my analysis, critique, description, and dealings with British politics, be it the Green Party or anyone else, okay? I am not, by my nature, a propagandist. I'm not interested in towing the line. I'm not going to be doing worship of anybody, okay? If the Green Party fuck up, I will say they fucked up. If Zack Polanski fucks up, I will say he fucked up. If the Green Party membership support a policy that I think is wrong, I will say so, okay? I'm not in the business of shining turds. That isn't what I'm about. So just, you know, I will be open about the fact that I'm a Green Party member, and you can take that into account when deciding whether I'm being biased or whatever, but I am in no way going to be a shill for anybody. And I am in no way taking any fucking money from anybody. In fact, I am giving money to the political party in order to be a member. And I will happily and willingly fight for local candidates in my area to be elected as Green Party members to whatever particular body they are fighting for election to. Yes. So I'll call it as I see it, and you can trust that. Okay, you can take that to the bank. But you might be asking yourself why and why now, and those are perfectly good questions. Why? Well, I've wanted to get involved with kind of more grassroots, on the ground type politics anyway. So I felt like this was a pretty good opportunity. I had taken a look at this sort of burgeoning Your Party thing, whatever that's going to be called. And frankly, after it's cozying up to the likes of Adnan Hussein, I'm not interested. If you're going to be transphobic, I'm not interested in joining your fucking political party. Again, I'll be totally open about that. And why now specifically? I wanted to wait until after the election to see which way the political party itself wanted to go. Because whilst I'm interested in trying to make the Green Party better, I'm ultimately not about trying to run anything or like set some sort of narrative thing, okay? And I'm not arrogant enough to think that I even could if I wanted to. So I wanted to know where that party was at. And so it wasn't just important that Polanski won, but that he won in a reasonably healthy fashion. If it was like 51%, you have to wonder what political party you're joining here. But the fact that it was 80+% tells me that I'm at home there. That his more radical politics are the way in which that party wishes to go. And that's sort of what drew me to it. That's what made me finally decide to actually take the plunge. Because this is the first time that I felt hope, I guess, for quite a while, for quite a number of years now. I was infused or even enthused by the Polanski campaign and its more populist approach to things. I was turned off completely and utterly by the kind of gradualist, safe, nicey politics of the Chownes-Ramsay ticket. But whilst I don't think they're necessarily evil people or anything, they're still members of the Green Party as well, and indeed members of Parliament. And I probably agree with them on, like 90% of stuff or whatever. Their approach to it was part of, not necessarily part of the problem, but it hinted at what the problem is, which we'll sort of get to in a second. I mean, for me, Polanski hit all of the right notes, right? And also, it was really nice to see Martin Ali, the councillor from Leeds, get elected. He's a top lad who, if you remember, was the guy that went out and, well, when there were riots in Leeds and like literally was carrying away like bins that were on fire and stuff. Like, he was stopping riots and stuff. I don't know how much more like community oriented you want a person to be. Top lad. We salute our tiny king. And Rachel Millward, who's a really cool person as well, who I didn't know that much about, but then you find out that her first political action was a protest against apartheid. I'm very open to hearing all about that. That's awesome. So that's good as well. And the priorities that Polanski outlined in his sort of victory speech, if you will, I thought were really good. Nationalising the water and the power industries, it was hugely important. Taking on the far right? Taking on the far right is a really, really important part of this, because the supposedly left-wing party, the Labour Party, is trying to out-Farage. Every time Farage has a policy, it gets announced as government policy the next day. And then they're trying to tell us that we should be scared of voting either for the Green Party or your party or whoever, on the basis that you're going to allow Farage in. Well, why should I be scared of Farage when you're literally the one implementing his policies? How is it going to be really any different? I think it's a perfectly reasonable question to ask. So yeah, taking on the far right is massively important. And standing up against the current burgeoning zeitgeist of anti-immigration shit, right? I thought it was a really good piece of sort of mood music and a really good symbol of how he's going to take this party forward. That the first thing he did after becoming leader, so like literally the event he went to first, straight away afterwards, was to go to an immigrant rights organisation meeting, which again I think shows there's a wonderful symbolism to that, of him wanting to go and sort of put his stake in the ground on that issue, which is completely against the zeitgeist of all of the other major political parties who want to demonise migrants because they're trying to chase the votes of like people who go around, spaffing all over fucking roundabouts and shagging flags and stuff. It's embarrassing. Yes, and of course, a thing that's been a core part of his campaign was stopping Britain's complicity with Israel's genocide in Gaza. A massive, important thing, which unfortunately, again, is going against the zeitgeist. The major political parties are lockstep in being, yay Zionism. And so for him to be firmly against that, I thought was really, really important. And crucial. It would have been a deal breaker otherwise. I don't want to criticise Jeremy Corbyn in this video too much, but what I will say is that refusing to be like outwardly anti-Zionist or whatever is a bit cringe. Really, it's a bit cringe. But I'm not writing off your party or anything like that. I just think there are issues there that I'm really not comfortable with. Hang on a minute. I can cut this bit out for the YouTube. It's not a problem. And I think what sort of summed up my enthusiasm, or what's the word I'm looking for? Solidified my enthusiasm for his campaign was the video that he put out on various social media platforms. Literally, like, straight away. So it was within an hour of the announcement of the result. And this is exactly the tone I want him to hit. And regularly.
Why is every...
Ooh. It would help if I'm listening to it as well, wouldn't it?
Why is everything so shit?
That's the question you need to ask. Because that's the question the entire country is asking. Why is everything so shit? Now, there may be some pearl clutchers out there who will scoff at his use of a swear word. He said a curse word. Oh no. Get the fainting couch. I might swoon. But that's not the zeitgeist we're in. That's not the situation we find ourselves in. At all. This nicey respectability briefcase politics is dead. It's over. It is finished. Which is also, by the way, why these weird smears about the hypno-boob thing, which if you don't know about, you don't need to find out about, because it's bullshit. But it's why those kinds of, like, personal smear type things don't really work anymore. Because no one believes it, for a start off. No one believes the media when they talk rubbish, which is why it's good that he's starting a podcast as well. Because when the media is untrustworthy, start your own media. That's the beauty of the internet in many respects, is that it is something of a levelling of the playing field. Not perfect, not by any stretch of the imagination, but gives good-intentioned, well-intentioned actors the opportunity of changing things for the better. And unfortunately, that's the respectability politics thing is where I really didn't like the Chowns-Ramsey campaign. That they were trying to come across as too polished, as too politician. They were being Westminster in an era where not only do I not want Westminster, nobody wants Westminster. Nobody wants the corporate, shitty, polished bullshit liar that hides the corruption of the system. People don't want that anymore. So retweeting how you've gotten support from Bloomberg News, a thing that literally happened during the campaign, is what put me off the Chowns-Ramsey ticket. Not interested. If they had won, I wouldn't have joined the Green Party. Very simple.
Our wages are shit.
500,000 workers protesting over pay, jobs and conditions.
Our rivers are swimming in shit.
Across England last year, raw sewage spilled down to England's rivers.
Is this his rivers of shit speech?
Lakes and coastal waters.
And most politicians, they're full of it too.
True.
And here's the truth. True. Those same politicians sold you out. The people you voted for, your supposed representatives, they stopped serving you a long time ago and now entirely serve big business.
That's so true. A, it's so true and worth pointing out. And B, I think it's really good that he puts Keir Starmer there because obviously he's just doing a chronology of the governments from 2010 to today. But also it makes the very clear and obvious point that they're all Conservative Prime Ministers, including the man you see on the screen there. They're all in the service of big business and nothing else.
And once you see it, everything clicks. Follow the money, and you will see both Starmer and Farage whining and dining, hedge fund billionaires, oil and gas companies, arms traders, same dealers, same game. So what am I going to do that's different? I'm Zack the new leader of the Green Party. And for starters, I'm saying this out loud. That's going to make me enemies fast. But I'm not here to make friends with the people wrecking this country. I'm here to take them on. And I know I'm not doing this alone. I know you're with me. We don't have to agree on everything. This is a democracy. We just have to have a common cause. So it's time to put money back where it belongs, into our communities, into the NHS, nationalise our water companies, stop selling arms to Israel, and of course, protect our natural world. The Green Party won't leave anyone behind. Let's turn our country around. Join us. Draw the line.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about. How can you not love him? He's amazing. God almighty. It's very Mamdani coded. And I'm fucking here for it. Let me tell you. So yeah, that for me sums it all up nicely. If he can hit those messages and get out there into the media and just pump that out constantly, he will have been of immense use to the country. If nothing else happens, even if we don't take into account the people that will be elected because of that, or if we don't take into account the increased membership or anything, if he just puts out those messages, if he just gets that into the eyes and ears of normies on big platforms, which, as we'll see possibly later on in the stream, actually no shit, I can't say that, can I? Because I'm on the fucking thing. Because this is all going up on YouTube. Right, I'll do that bit just for you now, right? As we'll see later in the stream, he is doing that on mainstream platforms. But if he just puts that kind of messaging out into the eyes and ears of normies on mainstream platforms over the next couple of years, he will have been of immense progressive use to the nation. And that is worth its weight in gold as far as I'm concerned. And so, that's why I've joined the Green Party. And I think you should too. I've left a little link in the video description if you want to go and check that out. There we go. I'll turn the alert box back on now. Boom. Boom. Now, as I said, No Justice will be coming on at 9. So we'll be doing more serious politics then. But for now, I want slop. I'm going to do some slop. Okay? This dickhead, this absolute knobber, a different bias, has done a little video stream thing there called "Have the Greens Been Taken In by a Posh Boy Chancer?" I need to talk to this motherfucker. I really do.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's all go with this live streaming, isn't it? So, the Green Party, don't talk about them much. I don't ignore them. They just don't give you very much to talk about. But, so they've just had a leadership election. Zack Polanski, as expected, has won it hands down by the vast majority of the votes. Not even close to being close. In fact, if he'd have halved his votes, if half the people that voted for him didn't bother voting at all, he'd have still won it comfortably. So in terms of thinking, by the way, just to be clear, I'm not at all a fan of anyone who says they deliberately want to turn their party into a populist party. Because let's be clear about a couple of things. So before we can discuss how Zack Polanski may succeed or not, we have to consider two things. We have Phil again, is never off the telly. No, I might do another one later tonight as well. We have to consider, first of all, what is populism? Just so that we're not misunderstanding here. We need to it can't be one of those situations where we.
What's the betting that this man doesn't give us a remotely accurate description of what populism is? Because populism, in political sense, is essentially the idea that there is a corrupt small group of people that lead the society that are pitting themselves against the majority, and therefore you are on behalf of the populace, I should say, of the popolari, against this small, powerful, corrupt elite. That is populism. You can have right populism and left populism. I don't know that you can really have centre populism. I'm not sure that's a thing, but whatever.
Have a rough idea of what we think it is in our heads. No, we need to be accurate here. Secondly, what are the Green Party's viable strategies? Because there are two competing strategies. I discussed this after the last election. I said at the time, the Green Party have a choice to make. The question is, has Zack Polanski made that choice? I am going to question, does Zack Polanski actually have a strategy? But anyway, so what is populism? Populism is a technique of rallying to support for yourself by identifying a section of society as being the enemy of everyone else. So it basically says, these people are your enemy.
Okay, I mean, you're missing a crucial element of that. It's not that it's just a section of society. It's that it's the ruling section of society. Because, like, your description here could be just fascism, where you point towards Jewish people or Muslims or whatever as the enemy. If you don't add in the power dynamic to that, you're not describing populism, you're describing a number of potential things. Which is, Chat, thank you for attention. It's September. Subs are now discounted. Apparently they're discounted. I wasn't even told about this. Is that a thing? Why have they not told me this? Twitch, you are so shit. You really are.
Rally around us and we're going to take them on. Now, so I generally say a political party can either try to be populist or it can try to be serious. It can't be both. It's not.
Of course you do, you briefcase cunt. I'm serious. I'm one of the sensibles. I'm the adult in the room. You fuck. Oh, he literally said the thing. I'm sensible.
That it physically can't be both. It is possible. You just very rarely see both. For example, you could look at the typical one. We'll always go to this when we talk about populists. The most successful populists in history, at least for a period, were the Nazi Party.
He's literally doing the thing. You're a fucking twat, mate. You're a twat. You're a twat and a knobhead. You're a dick. You're a dick and a twat and a knobhead and a sweaty minge flap. You're a knobhead. You're a knob, you're a knob, you're a knob, you're a melter. You're a melty little knobhead. I think I've made my position very clear on this. That is farcical. You should be fucking embarrassed that you've dared to utter that nonsense. Like, I said that as maybe he's just got a slightly wrong interpretation of the description of populism. But I said that his description would encompass fascism. And that's literally his go-to. They weren't populist, you dopey bastard. Because they weren't necessarily saying all of these groups are in power. They didn't say gypsies run Europe. But yet they still killed gypsies, didn't they? Like, you're a fucking... your understanding of politics is embarrassing. Tragically ahistorical and embarrassing. Yeah, Zack Polanski is the new Hitler. I did say, I wonder when the anti-Semitism smears are going to start. They've started fucking early.
They were populists, obviously.
No, they weren't. You're wrong.
Identified enemies of society, and they rallied everyone else in.
Okay, but then you could say that under your description, then, Starmer is a populist because he identified the Tories as destroying Britain, didn't he? He identified the Tories as destroying Britain and how he needed to get rid of them in order to make Britain better and have a decade of renewal after Tory destruction. So is Keir Starmer the new Hitler? Is Keir Starmer a populist? I'd be very interested to hear your defence of that little fucking notion.
Opposition to them, but they also had a serious project. It's horrific, but it was serious. Then you could say, so what if you were serious and you wanted to inject a bit of populism? Is that possible? I can't think of any cases where it's realistically happened, but some people have tried it. You know, Gavin Newsom is trying it in the United States right now. You know.
I don't hate Phil, but I do have a feeling of genuine disdain for the bullshit. Like, I feel it's offensive. It's offensive to me that he would sit here and spew this shite to his audience. Like, my understanding was that if you engage in politics, you do so on a kind of, on the basis that the people you're talking to aren't idiots, and that you essentially have signed a kind of not literal contract, but a kind of concord between yourselves, that I will tell you what I genuinely believe to be true, right? I will give you my full analysis, and you can respond to me, and we can go back and forth, and even if we disagree on stuff, it's honest, and it's real. And he doesn't take that approach. He thinks just spewing complete bullshit is acceptable. And that's insulting to the intelligence of everybody listening. He's basically saying, I think you're fucking stupid. I think you're a moron who will buy this line. And that's pretty despicable, to be honest.
A serious politician who is trying to inject a bit of populism. Will it work, though? Is there any proven case of where it's worked? I'm not sure. So is Zack Polanski someone who says he wants his party to be a populist party?
Hang on. Whoa, mate. You said the Nazis were populist. You're wrong, but you said the Nazis were populist. They did succeed, ultimately, didn't they? They were in power. They got into power. They enacted their policies. They were quite successful in their policies. Ultimately, it didn't last very long, but no political system does. No political party lasts forever. Their goals were despicable, but they achieved a great many of them. And they were in power for like 12 years? That's a lot longer than Keir Starmer's going to be in fucking power. So surely that would be an example of a populist party that was successful, right? Oh, right, you're lying. Yeah, sorry, I forgot.
But in reality, does intend to use it, to use the support it might gather for a serious project. So what is Zack Polanski's strategy? Well, let's focus on what the two strategies the Green Party have available to them are. And this is what I discussed after the last election. So,
if he says one of them's invading Poland, I'm going to lose my fucking mind.
The Green Party are a scattergun party. That is just like Reform UK last year. They get a good chunk of votes. They get a significant share of the vote. In fact, at the last election, it was a very big share of the vote for them, historically. But it's always a significant share of the vote. It has been for years. But it doesn't translate into a lot of electoral power because it's spread all around the country. The Green Party have never had a focused strategy. They've always had that scattergun approach of try to appeal to as many people as possible, because that's how you'd work elections, isn't it? And it's like, not necessarily, especially not with the first past the post system. The aim of politics is to win as many seats as you can, not as many votes as you can.
Well, exactly, unless you change to a direct, proportional representation or something like that, which you have the power to do as the current government and are refusing to do. Because you're idiots and you're going to hand the next parliament to the Reform Party, you dopey cunts.
So, where the Green Party win is, if you look at the...
I haven't seen the thing, the comments. I just dropped my Labour membership for Green. Labour is done as a progressive voice. Fuck yes. This is... top comments, is it? I think sort by top comments. Starmer is literally bringing a board member who's a prominent hate group into his core circle. He routinely embraces and validates far-right positions. The idea that progressives can continue to support Labour under his leadership is utterly absurd. True. Labour had my vote for 50 years. I'm going to the Greens now. Fuck yes. Also, Kevin, love it. Where does he get the votes from? From the vacuum made by Labour, moving to the far right. True. My wife joined the Greens in the local elections. but soon became disillusioned with them when the candidate tried to make out she had something to do with the flower displays around the town. Okay, that's just a bit weird. The path to Green expansion is to win other Bristol seats, other Brighton seats, Huddersfield, and many central London seats. Yeah. I'm sorry, but socialism isn't when the state manages the means of production. It's when the means of production are owned by the people. That could mean the state, or it could mean something like cooperatives or universities. I don't know what that means. Well, I mean, I do know what that means, but it's got nothing necessarily to do with it. He's got my vote after the Labour Party went hard right. Good stuff. As a former Labour voter, I voted Green and voted for Zack. If farmers had integrity, they would be voting Green. You get worse and worse every day. Yeah, he kind of does. He's not a chancer. Phil seems desperate now. Please don't go to the Greens, progressive voter. True. I vote Green any day of the week, and I live in the countryside where farmers pollute the land with poison and artificial fertiliser. Vote Green. Phil inventing definitions. Advanced UK sounds like a flea. What? Didn't you go to a private school, Phil? Maybe don't call people posh chancers who as it happens, didn't go to a private school. I'm disappointed with this take. Okay, you get the idea. Basically, the people who watch his channel don't agree with him. Based.
Some of their seats they've won, they're usually quite NIMBY areas. They're sort of, I mean, socially liberal, but...
this video, well, it's actually a live stream rather than a video, and it's called Live. Have the Greens been taken in by a posh boy chancer? Question mark.
Leaning a bit right areas. I mean, there's a couple of seats that they won that would have otherwise been Labour seats, sure. But the other two were Conservative. And where they win councils, that's like Conservative areas. And that explains their NIMBYism in Parliament. So, for example, they say, look, I mean, obviously that's their thing, right? Green politics. So, climate emergency, we need to do something. We need to do something really radical, just not where we live. So that's their attitude. So they, for example, at the council level, have blocked public transport options, therefore encouraging more people to have to use cars. They've blocked clean energy projects. So that's the reality of it, that they...
He's scared. He's scared, chat, and he's swinging wildly. He fears the coming storm.
Talk a good show nationally, but where they actually win power, they're very NIMBY. They could have carried on with that, and it looks to me like Ramsey wanted to carry on with that, for example, in particular. Then there's another strategy. Someone's mentioned there Brighton. Yeah, Brighton's a separate issue there. But what I'm talking about is where they have...
Is it? Because for the longest time, Brighton was the only place they had an MP. It's like the core. That and Bristol, two of the most leftist places in the fucking country, are mainstays of the Green Party. You're just wrong, Phil. Like, don't get me wrong, they have done well in some Tory areas. But they've also done really well in some traditional Labour areas. Like...
have power. They don't have power in Brighton. They represent Brighton, but they don't have any administrative power in Brighton. They do where they have councils. The MP can't block any project like that. They can speak out against it, but they can't block it. The alternative strategy, however, is to recognise that the Green Party could vacuum up a load of those votes that are dissatisfied with Labour, which is clearly where Polanski is trying to lean into. But where are those votes strategically? If you're going to use it, like he says he wants to win 30 MPs at the next election. I mean, I can come up with some reasons why, fine to have ambition, but yeah, it's not happening. So he reckons he wants to win 30. So where's he going to get these from?
I mean, I agree with him, it probably isn't going to happen. But, like, how many are Labour going to win? Or more precisely, how many hundreds are they going to lose?
Right? Where is the Green Party's best chance of winning new votes in a way that could turn into new seats? It's young, liberal, urban dwelling, usually graduates.
Urban dwelling. The dwellers of the urban landscape. Okay.
Right. That's your best source of votes for the Green Party. If they really wanted to expand, the best people to target are young, liberal graduates, progressive, left wing, right? They're in the cities. They're not NIMBYists.
Yeah.
They don't like the NIMBY thing. They are fully seized of the... I mean, they live in cities, right? In and around cities. They're used to infrastructure all around them.
Yeah, so it's probably best that you have a leader that, say, represents... What does he represent? London, the largest city in the country by far. Oh, right, so there's literally a bloke from London. And they have an MP from Bristol. And an MP from Brighton, which are both also cities. Right. And they've got their deputy leader, who's from Leeds, which is another city. Probably good choices, really, I think, aren't they? Probably very good choices to have city dwellers as the leadership then.
They're not put off by it like the people out in like the shires. So, and I said at the time, the Green Party have to choose which one of those they become.
Remind Kev of this. What's that? When the Green Party win more than 30 seats?
Fine to have ambition, but yeah, it's not happening. So he reckons he wants to win 30. So where's he going to get these from?
I mean, I agree with him, it probably isn't going to happen. But, like, also, you don't need to remind me of that, because I said it probably isn't going to happen. Yeah. Like, that's not me saying it definitely won't happen, or saying, yay, I'm glad they're not going to happen. Look, I'm just saying, reasonably speaking, they haven't polled in a position where they'd get more than a dozen seats, ever. So 30 is a very ambitious target, which I can't see them quite reaching. I hope they do. I hope they far surpass that. I'd love them to. But, like, I'm just giving you my prediction, right? I don't think they're going to get the 30. Not at the next election, anyway. But they build, and they, if you come... They came second in, 40 seats or something? If they come second in 150 seats next time, now we're talking. Now we're fucking cooking. But if you've only got 4 seats and you only came second in, 8% of seats? Winning 30 seats is going to be fucking difficult. We do live in a first-past-the-post system. It's not easy. It's very, very, very anti-democratic. As I think we've all seen.
Which one's Zack Polanski?
Oh, shit.
Which one is he? Honestly, there's bound to be some people here who know Zack Polanski better than I do. Which one is he? Because I haven't heard him say either. He's clearly not. So, because here's the risk as well for the Green Party. So,
is it more practical to support your party or the Green Party? Depends on your seat. Genuinely, it depends on where you live and who's standing. Yeah. Like, in a general sense, I think the Green Party are clearly better. That's why I've joined, as aforementioned. Yeah, for those coming in late, I've joined the Green Party. And I've just realised I'm wearing a green t-shirt as well, which thematically works, but was genuinely unintentional. Yeah. But if you're in your area, if there's a your party candidate or even like some shithouses like the fucking Workers' Party or whatever, yeah, I think that's worth throwing your vote behind those people. They're not ideal, fucking far from it. But like the transphobia issue is something of a wash. Because the Tories are transphobic, Reform are transphobic, Labour are transphobic, the fucking Workers' Party are transphobic, your party might end up being transphobic. So, if that issue is sort of level, then go for the one that aren't, going to try and destroy disabled people's living standards or continue genocide or something like that, Your t-shirt is blue. No, the fuck it is not. It might look weird in the because there's a blue light behind me and there's this bright light, but trust me, this t-shirt is green. It's green, all right. How do I show this better? Hang on a minute. Because I've white balanced my face, it's made the t-shirt look less. Look there. Hang on. There we go. If we just boom, does that look more green for you now? Is that more of an appropriate greenness? Now my face looks like a fucking tomato. Or indeed a strawberry. Anyway, we'll go back to a kind of sensible hue. And by sensible hue, I don't mean Fernley Whittingstall. Because that's a man's name.
They had to adopt one of those strategies. They can't try and do both. That's not going to happen. Because either you're NIMBY or you're not. You're either NIMBY, in which case you're not really...
Well, no. There are degrees, aren't there? You can say oppose certain things, or you can oppose all of the things, or you can oppose none of the things. It's a gradation. NIMBYism isn't an absolute or a nothing. You can be a bit NIMBY, or a little bit more, or half NIMBY, or complete NIMBY, right? Or anywhere in between. Your black and white thinking is not helpful.
Really in favour of radical reforms, and that's not going to appeal to the young liberal graduates, right? Or you are going to go for it with your radical reforms, and you're going to go, and you have to be anti-NIMBY. Like, he's attacked Keir Starmer today, right, without really saying what about, but Starmer's come in saying we're going to smash the NIMBYs. He's saying we're going to build this green infrastructure.
Right, and where is it? I don't see it happening right now. Sorry. Oh, it didn't get ratio. That doesn't surprise me enormously. He's quite a big channel, to be fair. 220,000 people. There are clearly people who like him and agree with him.
They're going to build these houses, and if people have got a problem with it locally, tough shit.
Okay, but that's only going to be applied to the people of, like, Birmingham or Yorkshire. Probably not the people of Knightsbridge. Probably not Chipping Norton and Surbiton and so on and so forth. It's only poor areas that are going to be told to go fuck themselves, isn't it? I'm guessing rural Oxfordshire is not going to be seeing massive fucking pylons going up anytime soon.
That's his attitude. Zack Polanski hasn't said that. So he hasn't aligned them with the YIMBY side, but what he's clearly going to do, and he's made it clear, what he's clearly going to do is he's actually going to upset a load of those traditional Green voters in the areas they win, right? Now, I'm not saying he's going to lose votes over this. He may get more votes at the next election, but that will not necessarily translate into more seats if he ends up appealing to people in areas where he can't win. Because what is his strategy for winning seats? To win seats, Zack Polanski appears to be fighting a culture war. He's not appearing to. He is absolutely fighting a culture war.
Unlike the transphobes in the Labour Party, who definitely aren't. Look at this, Chad. Look at him. Martin Ali, honestly, I need to meet Martin Ali and I need to tell him that I love him. Look at him. What a fucking king. A tiny, tiny king. The only king I'll ever bow to. Inshallah.
A couple of issues with Zack Polanski. The first of which is he's a known con man, right? I describe him in the thing as a posh boy chancer, right? Privately educated, and what did he do in his former career? He told women that they could think their tits bigger. That was his career.
No, it wasn't. He did a bit of hypnotism, and also, by the way, he apologised for this. But also, it was about body image. It was about body image. It wasn't even really literal in a sense. Also,
ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Victory is ours.
Can I just say, if I had a choice of leaders between one who did a silly hypno-boob thing 10 years ago or one who is currently doing genocide, I think I know which one I'm going to go with. Maybe sit this one out, champ.
You can make your tits bigger with the power of hypnotherapy, right? That's who he is. And he's not really shown any signs that he regrets that period of his life at all.
Apart from the apology that he literally made for that. You liar. You actual fucking liar. Probably 255, probably.
So when he says attacking Stam is the best way to get media attention, which is what they're after. Sure, yes. Oh, no, absolutely. I don't say that his attitude of being in your face is wrong. At the end of the day, he has stated that he wants to replace Labour. He wants the Green Party to replace Labour, right? Of course, you're going to have to be in your face. I think...
Well, and he's the Prime Minister. It's not just like a political positioning thing. He is the Prime Minister. So if you're going to criticise political decisions made by the government, he would be the first sort of port of call. I don't think that's like a particularly strange or outrageous concept.
Starmer should be more in your face with some of these people, right? That's what I would like to see, that in your face attitude. But what's his strategy? Because he claims, with this idea of populism, he's going to be taking on Reform UK. No, he ain't. He's not even attempting to tread on Nigel Farage's toes.
Apart from he literally said he was evil. What are you talking about? Motherfucker, the Keir Starmer is literally doing Nigel Farage's policies for him. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
He is occupying right now, and he's praised Jeremy Corbyn today. Oh, he's full of praise for Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah. Because he's on the left. So he likes Jeremy Corbyn, yes. What's that got to do with anything? Is Jeremy Corbyn in the Reform Party now? What are you talking about?
Attack Keir Starmer. Who's that appealing to? That's appealing to the Your Party crowd, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is, yeah. He's trying to win votes from people on the left. Unlike the leader of the Labour Party who said the door is open, you can leave to left-wing voters, he is trying to win left-wing voters. That's it. Like I don't know why you think that's a particularly weird thing to try and do.
You know, if he was just attacking Starmer, you could argue, okay, he's also trying to appeal to the Reform UK crowd, but he's praising Jeremy Corbyn. There's only one niche that he's appealing to there. So he is actually now in direct competition with the Your Party. Now, some advantages.
He already was. What are you talking about? Regardless of what he'd said, whether he'd come out and said Jeremy Corbyn's awesome, I want to suck his dick, or Jeremy Corbyn is literally Hitler, he was in competition with the Your Party crowd. Because they're literally like sort of quite similar political parties. albeit that the your party doesn't really technically exist yet, but politically speaking, they're in similar territory. Yeah.
One advantage he has over them is that the Green Party can probably consistently claim to be pro-trans. So they can certainly lean into that. So they'll only be competing with the Lib Dems on that one because everyone else is transphobic, right?
So you're okay with your political party being transphobic? Okay, I mean, I suppose well done on the honesty for just being out there and being like, yeah, the political party I am a member of, the Labour Party, is actually transphobic. And that's an area we don't differ from with Nigel Farage and the Tories. Why don't progressives want to vote for us? It's crazy. It's embarrassing. Again, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to see a human being cope so pathetically, to flail miserably.
Where he may struggle and what he's going to have, say, pathetic little attacks. Phil, I haven't attacked him yet, apart from showing the fact that he's a proven con man, which he is. That's not an attack, that's a fact.
Well, no, it is an attack. You're such a smug and wrong wanker. You can attack someone and it be true. In fact, that's really the way you should attack somebody. Look, I know you're used to the Labour Party lying about people, like saying, oh, Jeremy Corbyn's an anti-Semite. I know you're used to that kind of attack, but attacking people with facts is still attacking people. You fucking absolute gimp. We only got through 11 minutes of it, and I'm going to have to go over to No Justice. Well, I say I'm going to have to, like it's a bad thing. No Justice. Where are we? Yes. Don't forget, everybody, if you're enjoying the content, you can hit the follow button, you can subscribe, you can do bits, messages, super chats, memberships, all of that cool shit. If you wanted to. I have turned the noise back on, so hopefully that should work. Yeah.
Where he's going to have problems is, like, what is the Your Party really? What is Your Party? It's not a left-wing party. They're not promoting any left-wing ideas.
What? They're not really promoting any ideas. What? What is that as a criticism? They don't actually have, like, policies as such yet. So I genuinely don't know what the criticism even is there. I mean, in theory, yes, they might be a far-right party. They might come out and announce that they're going to open concentration camps and put straight people in them, which, by the way, based. But yeah, because they don't have policies yet. True, but look at the people who are involved in it. It's obviously going to be a left-wing party. Don't be fucking stupid. Don't be stupid.
I've said this before. They're not promoting any socialism. They've abandoned that completely, right?
Have they? When did they do this exactly? Can you tell me? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't see it. I don't see where this is happening. You're it, me duck. Or even just hello. You are muted.
I'm muted. Oh, there you go. I said, all right, governor. That's what I said.
Oh, you went southern with it. Okay, I see. I see how it was. Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. I'm doing pretty good. Managed to be productive today, and then also do a turn left, and now I've got plenty of time to spend it with you after we didn't do a Sunday stream. So I'm glad that we were
Indeed.
able to catch up, because I think question time is back tomorrow as well, isn't it?
Is it? I haven't got a clue. Maybe.
Because I mean, silly season's over now, so
Yeah. Well, I know Parliament's back, and I'm so glad about that. It's gone very well.
yay!
Yeah. Yes. So, well, how are we feeling after yesterday?
I mean, I'm absolutely loving the Zach Polanski one. I'm enjoying the cope from the Labourites about it. I'm enjoying the baseless smears that they're throwing in his direction, because they're rattled.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that there was total turf defeat on GPEX as well.
Yeah. I was happy about Zack getting elected. I was genuinely cock-a-hoop. But unfortunately, he's gone and fucked it right up by announcing that he's going to start a podcast. Podcast! Oh. So I'm going to have to, having just joined the Green Party, I'm going to have to immediately resign because I can't be seen with podcasters. Okay? Yes, no, I did.
Clearly, because he's stealing your thunder as the left's Joe Rogan.
Well, obviously so, yeah, naturally. Yes, no, I've joined. So I'm now a party man, a shill, if you will.
Excellent. Make sure you do the priority ranking for the motions for the conference and rank abolish landlords #1.
Yes, fuck yes. And by the way, I'm joking about the podcast. I will obviously be listening because it sounds sort of cool. Look, you can't trust the legacy media, so make your own.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Absolutely fine. Yes. So, yes. Well, I suppose we'll take a look at some of the. I don't even know how to describe backlash from
Cope. I've described it as Zack Polanscope.
Yeah, that works. I presume you saw the video he put out, which was dope.
Yeah, it was based as fuck. Yeah.
I showed that earlier. That was fucking awesome.
What was the piece by Annabelle Denham, where she was, I think it was in the Telegraph. What's so funny? One of the things that I first tweeted out as soon as we knew that the results were so kind of one-sided in terms of the leadership election. One of the things I specifically said was that no one can describe this as entryism, because even if literally every single member who joined from 2023 onwards had voted for Zack Polanski, you take them away and he still wins with a landslide. It's still like 2/3 of the votes that he gets.
Yeah.
Even if every member who joined voted from 2023 and every member who joined who voted also voted for Zack Polanski too.
Well, that's why
they're trying to say it anyway.
Yeah. Well, of course they are, because they're desperate. Look, their reaction to this shows us, I think, that we're in the right spot. Because they wouldn't be reacting this way if it weren't. You know?
Yeah.
He's an actual threat to them. In the same way that Corbyn was a threat to them, so they had to come after him, right? Their anger, their annoyance that anyone vaguely to the left of Genghis Khan is now involved in British politics is sign to me that I've made the right choice, I think.
Literally. And the wise words of Ash Sarkar, they are rattled.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Zack Polanski is an eco-fantasist? Thank you, Gabriel, you absolute briefcase.
What's that? Unheard, posting cringe. I'm shocked.
Shockhead, yes. Jeremy Corbyn with his congratulations. Okay, fair dues. Adnan Hussein is a massive transphobe.
This is the funniest tweet of the lot. Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah. Super Tansky. Just genuinely the gift that keeps on giving. So a white middle-class man has become leader of the Green Party. That's about as groundbreaking as a Tory sex scandal. By the way, she's subsequently deleted. Which is always a good sign. Yeah, look, I had to respond to it and just be like, okay, let's play the liberal identity politics then. He's also Jewish and gay. And one of the deputy leaders is a Muslim. Whereas Keir Starmer's dad was a tool maker. like, if you want to be a dickhead about it, we can all do it. Like, what the fuck is your problem?
And if we wanted actual working class representation, what's the Labour Party got? Well, they've got somebody who fiddles her tax affairs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like they've got the worst working class people. Jesus Christ. Unbelievable.
And even though like Phil the Shill from A Different Bias.
Oh, we were
did a
just
fucking
watching him. Just watching him, yeah.
His Cope stream was like, is a posh boy, and I'm like, he's from Stockport. He's descended from like Jewish European refugees who had to change their name because they were worried about anti-Semitism, and he got a scholarship to a private school, and he left after like one term because he hated it. Unlike Phil, who went to private school for 2 fucking years.
Yeah. Honestly, if you're the richest person in Stockport, you are still not posh. I've been to Stockport. I'm just saying. It's like
I used to
Birmingham.
work in Stockport.
Birmingham, there's posh, and then there's like Birmingham posh. You mean all that? don't get your fucking your knickers in a twist on that. Oh, Glinda got arrested. Lol.
Also, like, I ran to this on Turn Left, so I'm not going to go even further. Everyone's already heard my rants about this, but do you not think it's fucking crazy that everyone's just kind of immediately defending him when what he tweeted out was clearly worse than what Lucy Connolly tweeted?
Yeah, no, it was a direct call to violence. Not just violence, sexual violence. If you punch people in the genitals, that is sexual violence. Yeah. He got
exactly.
questioned. Yeah, okay, good.
For me, it looks like a direct call to action, unlike Lucy Connolly, which is kind of a throwaway comment.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. The Labour Party. Oh. New Green.
Just want to say sorry. Thank you, Big Al, for the Prime sub. Thank you, Christina Cramsey, for the membership. Thank you, Tyre Fraser, for the £10 super chat, and thank you, Kay Morton, for the 20 gifted. I appreciate you all.
Yeah, thank you. It's the Morton with 10 gifties. Much love to you. I don't know why the noise didn't go off, or if it did, I completely missed it.
Did you not turn it off because it was making you jump?
No, I've changed that now, but I've changed it to something else that also makes me jump. Yeah, anyway. So yeah, the Labour Party tweeted out, new Green Party leader Zack Polanski seeks to undermine our membership of NATO. Yeah, I know he's based. Such a serious time, this is a completely irresponsible position to take. What say you?
I mean, I think it's politically irresponsible, regardless of my position, whether or not I support or oppose NATO, when obviously I oppose it. But politically, it's not going to do anything other than kind of negatively polarize people towards you. The funny part, of course, is that this isn't his position, right? This is a bad position that he doesn't even take. His thing is, we don't need to leave NATO immediately. We should look at having a defence pact with European allies rather than being beholden to America to maintain broader international cooperation over defence without being beholden to Trump and his desire to annex fucking Greenland. That's his actual political position, far more defensible, far less politically toxic, and really difficult to be able to natively polarize against.
Yep.
But no one's hearing that political position because all you're hearing is the Labour Party go, he says leave NATO, when he'd even say it.
Yeah. Tom Watson, mentalist. Takeover complete. What? He won by 80-odd%, mate. What the fuck are you talking about? I know you like your elections won by 32% or whatever, but chill.
Daddy, chill. What the hell is even that?
Yeah.
My favourite Vine.
Oh, they're bringing out Hypno Boob.
So I'll say thank you, Jack Meller. Correction. Thank you, the Jack Meller,
yes,
for the gifties, and thank you, Triple P, for the 10 gifties too.
Nice. Again, just based champ. Extinction Rebellion activist Zack Polanski. Yeah, I know he's based. Yeah, thanks, Robert. I presume you meant that as praise, not criticism. Oh God. Supertansky continues. The last thing the Green Party needs is a white, privately educated male leader. Progressives need working class communities at the fore. Straight talking Mick Lynch figures, not alienating poshness. That kind of person fronting Labour or Greens would actually challenge Farage.
Well, again, like he's from Stockport and descendant of refugees, and his private education consists of a singular term, which he got a scholarship for, and he left because he hated it. Like, it's hardly... The whole point of scholarships is they go to people who can't afford it, or from backgrounds who are underrepresented, right? Literally, that is the reason why he got the scholarship is because he's from a working class background. Yeah. From the north.
Thank you, Wolfpet, for the donation. Very much enjoying it, thank you. Well, thank you, dear friend. Callum...
All the piss diamonds are at it.
Oh, yeah.
diamonds.
Yeah. If you're one of the 3,000 moderate Green members who want a party focused on winning in order to tackle climate change rather than protest politics, then the Lib Dems could be a home for you. Yes.
Like, I'm so fucking sick of this, like, protest politics. Like,
Oh, what I want is serious people killing the disabled for a
Oh my God,
5p
speaking
bag
of that-
tax, you fucking
speaking
monsters.
of that, one of the clips that we have to watch
Yeah.
on this today, we have to watch the clip of Nick Clegg defending the coalition, saying it was the best government of the last 15 years.
Oh, honestly, I might actually have an aneurysm.
Yeah, we have to watch, and we have to. It's gonna 100% be a segment. I have to roast this guy.
Yeah.
Back into fucking next year.
Indeed. Labour MP. So this is who the Greens think should lead their party. Says it all. Does it? Does it actually say anything rather than it all? Because again, if I had to choose between someone who made a cringy hypno-boob fucking thing 10 years ago and has subsequently apologised, or a leader who is currently doing genocide, I think I know which side my bread is buttered, frankly.
Again, they think that it's the 2010s and it's all about sensible politics and being the adults in the room. In reality, people care about policy, and all of these lines about hypno-boob just make people seem... Just, the fact that they
no
care
one cares.
about it makes them seem totally out of touch.
No one gives a fuck. Just like in that video, he starts off with, "Why is everything so shit?" That would have been... There would be pearl clutching about that in the old times. Oh, he swore. You can't swear. That's not sensible. But actually, no, fuck it. That is exactly what people are asking. Why is everything so shit?
I mean, Hugh Fearnley-Whittingstall said it on Question Time, and
He
people
did.
people applauded him because
Exactly.
he's right.
The posh,
Right,
the
even
posh
fucking-
boy said it, so it's all fair game now. Yes.
I mean, again, fucking, he did it as a Green Party representative, which was very tedious to me. That they only get on posh celebrity chefs rather than like green economists, which tilts me out of the park. But whatever. Like, he was on Question Time, and he was just like, "The rivers are full of fucking shit." Yeah, he's right. They are full of shit. Actual human shit.
Literally. I've referred to it as his rivers of shit speech, which I think works. Yeah, there we go. I made a mistake and apologised. I've never armed a genocide, though. Why haven't I retweeted that? I fucking bookmarked it. That's a banger. See, that's the energy I want from him, right? Come out there swinging. Don't give it fucking nonsense. Don't accept the bullshit of it. Go for it. That's all I want. If he can just get this kind of messaging out into normies' ears on big platforms like he was on GB News and fucking Sky and all the rest of it, that... Even if he doesn't get anyone elected, I think that will still have been worth something.
It's funny. Like, the thing is, what's crazy as well is that the last Blairite, the literal worst account on Twitter outside of Victoria Thingamajig, whatever her name is, like, that person was saying, "Well, I now know on the doorstop I can say to Green potential voters that their leader wants to hypno-boob," and I just be like, well, can we not just respond and say that Keir Starmer let off Jimmy Savile?
Yeah, he purposefully intervened to let his best friend James Savile off the hook. Here we go. Here he is again. Just being on this platform is enough, I think. You know.
New Green Party leader Zack sorry for giving women breast enlargements by hypnosis. Not the start you'd imagine.
Well, I wouldn't believe.
I do love the fact that we have such a wonderful free press, that you have husband of the Home Secretary doing this interview.
Did you see the debate that got to where you're letting in the Tories by getting people to vote Green in potential marginal seats? And I'm just like, yeah, you would say that, wouldn't you? You would say that. I'm surprised that Zack didn't just go across and say, well, yeah, I think, yeah, of course, the husband of the Home Secretary would say that, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
I'd just completely impugned his motives, you know?
Yeah.
Imagine.
Well, I wouldn't believe everything you read in The Sun, and this was a story from about 12 years ago. I've apologised then, apologise now. One of my favourite
What was your
politicians,
thinking
Tony
at the
Benn,
time,
said,
though?
I don't care about where you came from, I care about where you're going. And where I'm going is to tackle inequality, to tackle the climate crisis, to lower people's bills.
But just to understand, because of course this would be the first time that very many of our viewers will see you as the Green Party leader. Just explain, at the time, you believed that through hypnotherapy...
Good point there, Ed. Yeah, this is the first time that these people are seeing you, and instead of talking about policies, instead of talking about ideology, instead of talking about what he wants to do for the country, no, let's talk hypno-boob, shall we?
Yeah.
It's almost like he's admitting to want to poison the well.
Which, for me, isn't even poisoning the well, because I support fully anarcho-hypnoboobism. I'm on board.
Literally. What? Again, this was reported in The Sun. It was The Sun that did this report. The idea that The Sun are in opposition to big tits, like, come on.
Yeah,
please.
yeah. The paper of page 3 is against tits now. What? They've gone woke. The Sun has gone woke. It's official.
Honestly, we should change the hashtag to #backsack and rack.
Well, I've literally my stream is literally called Backsack and Crack. Because it's Zack, you know, that's the joke.
Therapy, you could enlarge a woman's breasts and charge people for that. What was your thinking then, and how did your thinking change subsequently?
Anyone who believed that would, that would be problematic, and that's nothing I ever believed. I was approached by The Sun. They approached me to say, would you like to do an article about body image? I said yes. I was misrepresented. I apologised a day later. That was 12 years ago, a long time before I was anywhere near politics. And as I say, since then, I have a strong track record of standing up for social justice, standing up to lower people's bills, standing up for marginalised people in this country. And that's a platform I'm very proud to stand on today.
So categorically, you never believed through hypnotherapy you could enlarge women?
When have you ever seen this prick ask the same politician 3 questions about the same thing ever? Follow-ups. They don't do follow-ups. Yeah. They allow the politician to lie and then just move on to another thing.
Yeah, not even. He's never even been this studious in questioning his wife, the Home Secretary, which he's done.
Yep.
He's literally interviewed Yvette Cooper on GMB.
Which, I mean, I don't know how you possibly square that with journalistic ethics. Honest to God. Fucking tragic country.
Women's breasts.
I mean, does anyone believe that? And actually, lots of men got in touch with me asking if it could help with other body parts. I've never done it for men, I've never done it for women, and that's not something I believe in.
But in the Star today,
Fifth question.
It says you admitted you carried out the...
They've asked about it 5 fucking times. Why?
Wow. They've suddenly realised how to do journalism when you've got a politician that doesn't want to answer a question. Shame it isn't about anything important like genocide or cutting fucking disability benefits. No. It's about hypno-boob.
Bizarre practice at a clinic in Harley Street where you told women to picture themselves with bigger boobs.
I want to tax multimillionaires and billionaires. I come on your show on my first day as Green Party leader, and this is the conversation.
God bless you.
I'm trying to clear it up.
I've apologised for it. I've said it doesn't represent me.
But did you say to women, you can imagine you have bigger boobs?
No, I didn't say that.
Did you hypnotise or hypnotherapise women to think that?
I never hypnotised and charged a woman.
Did you tell women to picture themselves with bigger boobs?
This is such an absurd thing.
This is fucking embarrassing. What are you doing? Do you think this works? Do you think the people watching this think you'll come across well asking this same question about nothing?
I think when these questions come from legacy and mainstream media, it often sounds like it's trying to silence left-wing politicians who are saying, I want to look at inequality in this country. I want to look at the things that actually matter, like the ongoing genocide in Gaza, the fact there's homeless people in the street, the fact I spent a couple of hours yesterday with migrant workers who are saying they're not even being paid a basic wage in this country to run our National Health Service.
But
I think these are the things that matter to people.
Yes, absolutely.
But what also matters is hypno-boob.
But hypno-boob.
Yeah. Amazing. Sophie Reed. Oh, that was a whole thing. Yeah. I'd be delighted to see Wes Streeting lose. Fuck yes.
We're about to interview later in the programme Wes Streeting. I think his majority is only about 300. And, you know, it would be a very high-profile race, wouldn't it, if you stood against someone like that?
I'd be delighted to see Wes Streeting lose his seat, but whether that's me or whether that's another Green or whoever it might be, then
and just I want to ask you about...
Yes. See, he's talking my language.
True, it's true. Actually, somebody's pointed out that we need to have a hypno-toad emo. We need to have a hypno-boob emo. Yes, 100% we need a hypno-boob emo.
We do. Where are we? If you vote Green, you voted wrong. Go away. Boob hypnotist is the new leader of the Green. This is the best they've got.
It literally is the best thing they've got.
They're scared, chat. They're scared.
They're rattled. It's like all they can say is boob hypnotist, anti-NATO, and he said nice things about migrants. That's it. That's their only line of attack.
Yep. Oh, and of course he's got a radical Muslim deputy. If you can't see where Britain is headed, you're not going to make it. How much does, like, this is what for me shows all of the nonsense of these people who say they oppose like radical Islam. How much more integrated and awesome a person does one have to be in Mothin Ali, my tiny king, who literally went out and stopped a fucking riot, put his body on the line when the police had fucked off and completely abandoned the situation. To bring order and discipline back to the streets of his city because he gives a shit. And he's a radical. Surely he's the opposite of radical. He's the least radical. But what are you talking about?
And yet the king of the working class, Nigel Farage, is jetting off in business class over to fucking Yankland to go and slob on Donald Trump's knob.
Yeah.
Like, this is the difference. You've got one guy rooted in this community out there trying to quell disturbances and looking after his neighbours. And the other guy can't even fucking point to Clacton on a map.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Not only is he doing that whilst Parliament is sitting, so he's not doing his fucking job, there was a grooming gang scandal statement in the House of Commons, which was attended by 0 members of the Reform Party. They really care about the women and girls, though, you understand. Really,
It's
they
true.
really,
It's true.
really care.
It's definitely not a Trojan horse for racist political campaigning.
No. Crazy.
Also, thank you £5 to the Jack Miller. This makes me really glad he started his own podcast when on Legacy Tabloids Time Media they waste his time on completely irrelevant topics. Very true.
True. Also, thank you, the Jack Miller, for shouting me out yesterday on Twitter. That was nice.
It was nice. Also want to say, is Mothin Ali tiny? He is. If you go back and watch the footage of the announcement of the deputy leaders, it's really funny watching them. It's really funny watching them have to put the microphone down from Rachel Millward.
Yeah,
because she's very tall.
There's a picture of the 3 of them, like on the banks of the Thames or whatever, right, having a nice. Oh, we're smiling with the leaders, right? And literally, it's like Zack Polanski, Millward, and then you have to pan down to Mothin Ali. Like he's a small. I was thinking, is he on the lower step or something? That no, he's a small lad, and I appreciate that. Fun-sized is how I imagine it. Anyway. God bless him. Oh, the Telegraph having a meltdown. Polanski's win is a dark moment for British democracy. I don't know how allowing people to vote is a bad thing for democracy. But...
Literally, it's like all of the Remainers who are just like, oh, democracy is dead in this country because they lost a referendum.
Yeah.
If people voted, but it's also the same as Brexiteers who say, well, if you have another referendum, that's also anti-democracy. No, we're voting again. Yeah. More voting is more democracy, and the more votes you have, the democracier it is.
Indeed. And when you have lots of democracy, that's communism.
If we vote for our bosses, that's communism.
In You Got What You Fucking Wanted, update, Marina Hyde, now showing, it's Keir Starmer's March of the Grown-Ups, the disaster movie we're all being forced to watch. You are the chief sensible. Shut up.
Honestly, it's almost like all of the people with Simpsons profile pictures on Twitter called like Honourable Pole Prof of Agile Ceremonies were far more politically in tune with the reality of this Labour government than the paid professional political commentators of The Guardian.
Unbelievable. Stealing a living. They really are.
Why did any of these Guardian journalists, why did none of them take Sir Ken Stonger seriously?
True.
It doesn't concern me in the slightest. There's no solving the climate crisis without also looking at social justice, racial justice. It's all interlinked, and it ends up all being about inequality. So as we solve the climate crisis, we can't do that without tackling inequality. The damage that's done to the planet is done by very few people. The super rich are not contributing to our society. The cost of living that we're all struggling under is happening at a time when the super rich are just kind of amassing wealth. All these problems interlink, and they're actually solved by the policies that we offer, like a wealth tax, which would enable radical investment in public services that could really change daily lives.
Right. But
that's
if there are, sorry to interrupt you, if there are moderate Tories out there who care deeply about the environment and green issues...
Right, but if they're moderate Tories, they're still fucking Tories, aren't they?
And also, like, they care about the environment. Well, they don't really care very much about the environment. If they can look at literally the mountains and reams of evidence that show the rampant neoliberal capitalism and corporate overreach and lack of regulation being responsible for the breakdown in not just climate itself, but in nature and conservation as well, then they don't actually care about the environment, do they?
No.
They just like the green and pleasant land and want their house price to go up, which is why they block development. There's nothing actually to do with nature depletion or ecological damage, or indeed the biggest problem, which is the climate crisis. Because they don't care about any of these things, because if they did, they would be advocating for socialist policy, which they are not.
Maybe we're thinking about voting Green. You are clearly now not the party for them.
What moderate Tories were possibly going to vote for the Green Party? What the fuck are you talking about?
I mean, they won people over in Waveney Valley, but as Adrian Ramsey even pointed out, you know, like, they won them over not by changing their positions, but by selling them their positions, right? Like, people, regardless of whether they are Tory, Labour, Reform, Lib Dems don't, but Greens, whatever it is, it's basically only Lib Dem voters at this point who don't want to see the water companies nationalised, because, of course, looking at shit in rivers is no one likes this. Not even Tories think that the privatisation of water was a bad thing. Thatcher opposed the privatisation of the railways, for fuck's sake, right? Like, this is a normal position that normal people take. Dare I say it's common sense. So the thing is that rather than compromising on values to triangulate, we are holding principle and sincere values and winning people over.
Yeah. Also, it was nice to hear the leader of a political party full-throatedly say, no, I support trans rights, actually. See, it can be done. You don't have to be a transphobic prick.
Yep.
I completely disagree with that, actually. I sort of share the leadership of a council in rural Sussex. That's historically Tory-facing. It was Conservative dominated for 50 years before we came in alliance. What I would say when I knock on doors is that the concern of our residents is inequality. It's why are the houses that are built over these green fields completely inaffordable to their children? Why are there no homes for first-time buyers or for downsizers? You know, what's happened to our social housing? These issues matter. So does the sewage in our rivers that's causing horrendous damage. This is the sort of thing that the Green Party will address. So we have a very broad appeal, and we always will.
Right.
Fuck yes. Love it.
Did you see the guy calling into Ian Dale who said Zack Polanski can't be Prime Minister because he's gay?
That's the perfect reason to elect him. What are you talking about? We've had loads of straights and they're all terrible.
And what's funny is I was like, well, do you think Putin will take him seriously? I think Putin fucking cares.
Yeah. Also, Putin's one of the most gay-coded homophobes I've ever seen.
It's so true. It's so true.
Firstly, shaved chest, rippled on the back of a horse. Like, are you? Could you be more fucking Brokeback Mountain? What are you doing? God Almighty.
This comes in from Brian in Cardiff. Ben, get a grip. This is brilliant for the right. The left splitting the vote three ways, as opposed to just one, will be win-win-win for Farage. Brian, I think you're spot on. This is not going to make Jeremy Corbyn Prime Minister. Zack Polanski is not going to be waltzing into Downing Street anytime soon. But if I'm Keir Starmer and I'm thinking, my goodness, I can no longer rely on being the only sort of left-wing party, I suppose, with the Lib...
Sort of? That's interesting. Why would you say sort of? Surely they are the left-wing party, aren't they?
It's almost like they aren't left-wing at all, and neither are the Liberal Democrats.
Well, I said this before you came on. Like, trying to scare me about, like, oh, you have to vote for us, otherwise you get Nigel Farage, when you're the one doing Nigel Farage's policies, is not very scary. Because, like, we already have Nigel Farage as Prime Minister. So where's the incentive to try and stop that from happening?
It's David Littlefair from Labour Beyond Cities. He was pointing out that, well, the reality is that we here in Labour, we understand the reality of first past the post and that we don't want to stop. We want to pragmatically stop Nigel Farage being Prime Minister. And whilst, you know, it's true, but Nigel Farage is more likely to be Prime Minister if there's a left rather than not. But he's still going to be Prime Minister whether they do or don't exist is the issue. And the other issue is, well, if only, bear with me, Chad, if only there was a political party with a giant majority, with a giant APPG that agrees on electoral reform, with a conference who passes electoral reform, and loads of backbenchers who support electoral reform, who could put a bill to Parliament to get electoral reform, so Nigel Farage doesn't automatically become Prime Minister. It would be interesting if that would be a thing. It's not, unfortunately, so I guess we're going to have to deal with Nigel Farage.
Yeah, terrible.
Dems. I'm now contending with the sort of resurgent Greens and this new Jeremy Corbyn thing that's being set up as well.
Right, but like he did say, the door is open, you can leave. And we left.
Again, it's just so funny to me. They just go like, I can't believe you're going elsewhere. They told us to.
Yeah.
Bitch, you said this to me. You said you didn't want my vote. Literally, there was direct question asked by Charlie Stay on BBC Breakfast to Rachel Reeves. Lots of people on the left want to see more taxes on the rich. And her response was, well, if they want to vote for that, they can vote for somebody else.
Yeah.
That was their explicit position. Okay, I am doing both of those things. I am leaving, I've left the Labour Party, I have joined the Greens, and I'm voting for people who will tax the rich.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, John Rentoul. Oh. Green Party takes a wrong turn. Okay. With the election of Zack Polanski by an overwhelming 85% vote, the Green Party of England and Wales has stepped decisively into the trap of becoming a green version of the Socialist Workers' Party. Citation needed. Polanski is half right about the opportunity for the Greens as a populist alternative to the mainstream parties, a left-wing counter to Nigel Farage's success on the other side, but he has chosen the wrong half. Instead of a broad-based Fotherington Thomas pitch, hello birds, hello sky, based on action against climate change, he has gone the full anti-capitalist common front with Zara Sultana. Oh no, because what we should do is environmentalism, but somehow with capitalism, because that'll fucking work.
And it's crazy as well. It's like this idea that somehow before the election of Zack Polanski, they were offering just kind of liberal climate action stuff. No, like we had Carla Denyer was advocating for a wealth tax. We wanted to diplomatically isolate Israel. We wanted to nationalize energy, water, mail, and rail. We wanted to see things like caps on the amount of you could pay a CEO, more funds for cooperatives, more big investment into new green energy via the state. We wanted to have a universal basic income as a long-term policy. The idea that we were hello birds, hello sky, Fotherington Thomas, posh boy conservationist climate change policy is just an inversion of reality.
Yeah.
None of this is true. Like the whole point of the leadership election, and this was admitted by Adrian, Ellie, and Zack, this was about communication. This was about their pitch to the public. It was nothing to do with the actual policy, which broadly all sides of the leadership election all agreed on.
Yeah. Maybe the voters won't pay much attention to details, but will just think Green is good and Jeremy Corbyn is a sincere and well-meaning chap. But maybe the Red and Green alliance will sweep all before it. I don't think so. Well, thank you for your briefcase.
My response to this was I didn't even bother responding in any kind of sincerity. I just quote tweeted him given it's his new newsletter that he's put out, right? The View from Westminster. It is Rentoul the Masquerade bylines.
Yeah.
You might not get that. I don't know if you get that joke, Kev.
I don't, but I'm just going to move on.
Oh, so there's a video game called Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
Which is, okay, and what is again, that leads me literally no further to understanding it.
Look, click on his profile picture, Kev.
Oh, good lord. Okay. Right. Oh, hang on. So he looks like a vampire, is the joke? Oh, okay.
Like
he does look like, to be fair, he does look like undead. Yes, that is true. I can neither confirm nor deny that John Rentoul sleeps in a coffin. I don't know. Yeah, that was the deputy leader thing. Oh yeah, I mean this is not necessarily about the Green Party, but sort of, because who would have thought it? Just keeping on polishing the turd doesn't make it any less of a turd. Who knew?
Nick, how has this reset gone down with Labour MPs?
Well, Vic, not very well. And I do have to say, I am picking up unease at pretty senior levels of the government and indeed into the cabinet at the state of Keir Starmer's premiership. One senior figure described Number 10 to me in very strong language. They simply said, it's a shit show. And this person...
Well, yeah, because it didn't the reset wasn't a reshuffle, which is, I mean, the reshuffles don't tend to have that much of a fucking impact anyway. I think they're overrated because the journalists love it because they get to wank over the details, right? It's good column inches, but it's not actually really politically that effective. But his reset wasn't even that. He can't even do the thing that doesn't work very well. He can't even do that. Fundamentally, the core problem with his government is threefold. Rachel Reeves, Keir Starmer himself, and the Politburo, led by McFadden and McSweeney and all the rest of it. None of which was touched in the slightest by this quote-unquote reset. What it did was give a hand-shanding to a couple of very minor parts of the government. No one gives a fuck. Other than what's its case? Fucking I've forgotten his name now. Anyway, who said he liked one of the people. I just think if you've got conservative activists praising you, you're probably not a very good Labour Party, I think.
No, indeed so. No, but you just need to get together and find consensus. What? You can't find consensus when you have supposedly completely diverging political opinions, which of course, apparently they actually don't at time of recording. It's also worth pointing out as well that this is the same government that their own deputy leader described as not being able to run a bath. It's quite funny to me.
True, but this is also the same deputy leader who can't do a fucking taxes.
I mean, honestly, like, you'd think that this is basically it now. That the only real off-ramp that I could have seen for this Labour government to stop being so hated was that if, like, Keir Starmer stepped down, right, apologised, said, I'm sorry for not prosecuting Jimmy Savile, and Angela Rayner there's a televised address in front of number 10 Downing Street where she sets fire to a picture of Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves and goes, I'm sorry for the brief interregnum, this was a mistake, and now the real Labour Party starts.
Yeah.
And that was their only off-ramp. The only off-ramp was to have a complete overhaul, become a proper like left-wing party again through some kind of Rayner-based coup that she wanted to do in 2021 or whatever it was. And now they can't do that anymore. First of all, because she's already been subsumed by the Politburo anyway. And second of all, because now she'll only be known as the tax dodger.
Yep, there you go. There she is. Unbelievable stuff, really. Spectacular. Thank you to... Who did a thing? Someone did a thing. Thank you, Ash Kitty, who says, shall we do slop and scrandle today or tomorrow? I think that's probably a tomorrow thing. I think we're doing, like, politics tonight. But
there's no question time tomorrow. I checked. I think it's back next week.
Fair enough.
Said to me, Keir can keep on appointing people and he can keep on spewing them out and it won't make any difference at all until he sorts out the politics. He needs to tell us what does he...
And you know what the big plan is? He's going to push for more benefit cuts. So he hasn't listened to anything at all. He's just going to carry on doing the same thing again and again.
By all means, Keith, by all means try and fail to push through benefit cuts again. It'll only make people on the left stronger.
Yeah.
Also, thank you, AK97 as well. As a Muslim, me and my trans friend were discussing how screwed we are when reform take power. Well, yep, it's true. Well, again, I guess both of us are already screwed as well under Labour too. It's great. I'm glad that, at least for some of us, we're allowing our dual communities to understand that we share far more than we disagree on.
Yeah, I mean, this is... I was making the point earlier about voting for potentially the Workers' Party, if that's a viable option in your seat. As transphobic as they are, and the Your Party people seem maybe to be going down that line. Like, if that issue is something of a wash, i.e. all of the parties are transphobic, then you get to just essentially vote on economics, if that makes sense. Like, if no matter what happens, you're going to have a transphobic MP, at least vote for the one who isn't going to try and fuck over disabled people. Maybe, you know? Like,
true.
It's a very unpleasant situation to find yourself in, but unfortunately, you know, needs must when the devil's shitting on you.
Well, exactly. Like I've always pointed out from the start that you always have to engage in how you vote with kind of utilitarian calculus, right? People kept trying to say, oh, well, you can't vote for the Greens as a protest vote. And I was like, no, I had a whole video. I put out a whole video. I put 2 videos out talking about why people should vote Green and not for Labour. And at no point did I say it's because I think we need to protest the Labour Party. I've made a very clear utilitarian case for why that you should. And again, that cold utilitarian calculus is how you should take all voting decisions in my mind.
Yeah.
he want? Where does he want to go? Are we doing the missions or are we not doing the missions? And it can't be.
Well, no, they're doing the mission. They're doing the missions and the steps to have a pathway to an idea of a concept of a plan. Is what they're doing
with the milestones and the shifts and the priorities
through the reset. Yes. It's a very serious. Don't you just love the serious adults in the room who couldn't fucking organise a piss up in a brewery by the looks of it? Fucking
What's so
hell.
frustrating, right? What's so frustrating is that, like, the mission-driven economy stuff could have been a really, really good punchy way of getting the public on side, right? Mariana Mazzucato's book, where she advocates for it, is great, and like, at no point did the missions achieve anything of what a mission should be according to Mariana Mazzucato. It's like they picked up a book, read the blurb on the back, and went, "Oh, I guess we need some missions then. Throw it in the bin. Here are five." Can you? I did this with my chat yesterday, Kev. Can you remember any of the 5 missions? Can you remember any of them?
There was the one about losing your virginity before prom. Oh no, that was American Pie. No, that was a different thing. Sorry, no, I can't. No, because they were irrelevant and I knew they were lies, so I didn't need to commit them to memory by the looks of it.
Literally, no one remembers them. Not even Labour members remember them. I'm a political commentator who is a fan of Mariana Mazzucato, and even I can remember all of them apart from like the highest sustained growth in the G7. It was the only one I remembered.
Yeah.
You know?
Was the one about restoring to clean government, like getting rid of corruption in government or something like that? Was one of them? I think.
No, it was. So there was one on the economy, there was one on the NHS, one on safer streets and police and antisocial behaviour. It was Clean Power by 2030 was another one, which was one of the only actual missions. It's why the only one people actually remember it's a real proper mission.
Oh no, there was the one that was make sure that my good friend James Savile doesn't get convicted. Was another
yes,
one.
that was the biggest mission. It's the most important mission.
To be fair, right? A policy put forward and fulfilled. You've got to give him that, okay? He followed through.
Yeah. Anyway. So thank you, AK97 again. Want to let you know, Helena, many young Muslims in uni are working in our communities against transphobia. It's a long process, but it is winning amongst young progressive Muslims. We share the same issues. Exactly. It's why you see, the Zara Sultanas and the Afsana Begums and the Rosina Alan Khans and the Nusrat Ghanis of this world. They all support the trans rights purging government as MPs, all Muslims. Like, this isn't necessarily.
And a tiny king from Leeds, please.
And what's funny, I pointed out on stream yesterday. Given the current trajectory of the government, I think our trans rights in this country are now worse than Pakistan. So,
Very possibly. But thankfully, because of the flag shagging and all the rest of it, they're all going to turn up to Parliament one day and it's just going to be the Labour front bench dressed like Jerry Halliwell in that fucking Union Jack skirt. I guarantee it.
Wrapped up in bunting.
Unbelievable. That was amazing. She claimed in that interview to have 2 different types of bunting. Flags up in her house and a tablecloth. I'm sorry, do you run a fucking flag shop out of your fucking house? Who has, even like patriot mentalists don't have that many fucking flags. No one believes you. Look, it's so obviously a lie. It's inauthentic and makes people dislike you and distrust you more. When Keir Starmer comes out, I'm a supporter of flags. Why are you talking like an alien who just arrived here? No one speaks this way.
He's literally like Kang and Kodos.
Yeah. Tiny American flags for everybody else. Just spin round and round and round and go fuck yourself. Yeah.
Swirling towards defeat.
To be led, it's got to be, this is where I'm going, this is what I want to do. So Keir Starmer did set out what today was all about in a video.
We go into phase 2, 1st of September 2025 in good spirit.
To be fair, that audio is the most leftist thing about him.
Where's his flag? And his poppy. No poppy, no flag. What? He hates Britain, chat.
Exactly.
Keir Starmer officially hates Britain.
Fuck off back to Starmerland. Go on.
Confident and with conviction about what we're doing. It needs a more powerful number 10, so we've added to the team with some really
why is this giving me like mockumentary from The Office kind of vibes? It's like it's a little bit David Brent. It's a little bit like, frankly, fucking boring, is what I'm saying.
I mean, it's literally, it looks like it's filmed like a mockumentary.
But also, and someone pointed this out, and I never even sort of chipped onto it really, but if you look at the art on his wall and stuff, everything about this man just screams bland.
Boring, dull.
Just, honestly, the kind of person who you would just walk past in the street and you wouldn't give the slightest look to. There's nothing about him that's at all, like, he's nothing. He's an invisible blob of a kind of human being.
It's funny, like, I feel like the filter they've used on this clip makes it look like 4 lions.
It is a bit 4 lions. Yeah.
Our 6th pledge is Rubber Rapids, bro.
Yeah. We're going to fly into those towers full of Jews and slags.
Jews invented spark plugs to control global traffic. Still my favourite line from that film, which we're quoting.
Yeah.
If people haven't seen the film, we're not just randomly being anti-Semitic for no reason. There's a reason for anti-Semitism here, and that's because we're quoting 4 lions.
What is he, a martyr or a fucking jalfrezi?
Jalfrezi. Another excellent knife.
Unbelievable.
Fucking Mr. Beans.
Still, it's not even one you can quote. But when he says, when they ask him how he pretended to be a woman to buy the bleach, and he just covers up his beard with his hands. Oh, when I first saw that, I literally nearly pissed myself. I was laughing so hard because it's so well done. It's a brilliant piece of work, honestly.
It is just off the bit where he says, "I do my IRA voice." But you're disguised as a terrorist. You'll get us nicked.
I'll be good at it.
Oh no, bro! Big hands, bro. Your Western imperialist culture, where you worship at the Church of McDonald's. Total flipping idiots, man. Could have gone chicken cottage, bargain bucket, proper halal, $6.99.
Oh, okay. We need to do a watch along at that on the fucking Discord at some point because it's so good. Fuck me. You wouldn't think that suicide bombing could be funny.
Chris Morris is incredible. Like,
literally.
I need more Chris Morris in my life.
True.
Members.
So in number 10, Vic, what they're talking
you are a
about
bunch
is
of members.
turbocharging delivery with these changes and saying how the Prime Minister spent a lot of the summer thinking about how does he rewire Whitehall, and there's a lot of talk about the significance of Darren Jones goes from being Chief Secretary of the Treasury to Chief sort of Secretary to the Prime Minister. They're saying he's a powerhouse that's getting stuff done, but interesting.
Imagine looking at Darren Jones and thinking he's a powerhouse at anything. He's fucking the ultimate briefcase non-entity wanker, and he's like their 2 brains.
Yet another lawyer, another elite lawyer being put into a position of power, you know?
Ridiculous.
Allies of Keir Starmer on this point about him sort of needing to be clearer. Some of the Prime Minister's allies are saying that is fair. But I have to say that video that the Prime Minister put out on social media is being panned by a lot of MPs. This is what somebody said to me, one MP said to me. We now have this sudden talk of the phase 2 of the government. And what do we see in the video? Personnel nobody's ever heard of, and Keir Starmer clicking on a mouse. And they say this sums it all up. Remote, out of touch, just looking and sounding like a civil servant.
True. Literally.
Honestly.
Literally.
It's so funny to me.
Also, can someone in the lower party tell me what the fuck was phase 1? What happened there? What was that? If this is phase 2, okay, tell me what you did in phase 1, because really it seemed like just a complete shambles where you were stumbling from one rake in the face to the next.
It's like I got mad. I just have to get mad again when I watched Bridget Phillipson on Trevor Phillips on Sunday.
Yeah.
And she was out there saying, "Oh, we've got this child poverty strategy, which has obviously been delayed." And like, obviously, the main point that I'd made right from the start was, if you need to have a child poverty strategy, but you don't have that strategy in place before the fucking election, when you're in opposition and you literally have nothing to do. As a politician, you've got fuck all to do other than write policy prospectus and campaign.
Yeah.
And you've done none of these things because you've been too busy expelling people for anti-Zionism, right? Like, it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. These supposed adults in the room are totally unprepared chances out here just going, well, we haven't developed that policy yet. We don't know what our child poverty strategy is going to do. We've got a baroness come in and do a review. I'm like, what? And you're wondering why you're fucking crashing in the polls because you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Starmer to push for welfare cuts after number 10 reset. So again, he's learned nothing. He's learned absolutely nothing. Brilliant. Thanks.
Honestly.
Oh, the Jeslington. He's going to do it. Look, basically his own inquest into Britain's involvement in Israeli state terrorism.
Yeah, but Francesca Albanese is going to be the first speaker.
Fuck yes. I haven't seen this, but oh no, this is the announcement of Bold Politics. Anyway, he's got a podcast.
Ooh, podcast.
Oh, podcast friend. What's this? Vote Green, get Farage. The new leader of the Green Party wants to decriminalise shoplifting and nationalise Sainsbury's. They are not remotely serious, and the Green vote helps reform. No, you're the government currently doing reform policy.
Nationalise Sainsbury's.
Are you going to nationalise sausages?
Come on, we have to watch the clip. What the fuck is it?
I don't know. Let's have a look. I think it's an old one. But...
I'm just going to quickly bring in Jake, particularly.
No, it's from yesterday.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, from BMQ's.
Doing. What's your response to what Zack has to say?
Well, Zack would be a very good spokesperson for a pressure group or a charity, but we're talking about a political party that presumably seeks public office, and some of the policies that he has advocated for, whether that is decriminalising shoplifting, nationalising Sainsbury's, pie in the sky, and actually, really, at the next election, anyone can...
Hang on, he advocated for putting pie in the sky. The man's a monster. He doesn't understand anything.
Also, thank you, Suze Kemner, for the raiding party of 60.
Yeah, Suze is awesome. Go and follow Suze.
We stand. You're through to the No Justice stream. We talk about UK politics from a socialist perspective 6 days a week. If that sounds like your thing, please drop a follow. Please subscribe to the YouTube at No Justice MTG as well, and follow on the socials. I am here with Kevin Logan, the destroyer of Milo Yiannopoulos. You should also go and follow Kevin, which is KFLogan175 on Twitch, or at Ploppy111 over on YouTube. Ploppy, son of Ploppy.
Yeah, but on this channel we want to nationalise Sainsbury's. That's a thing, definitely.
Literally, this comes from a meme from when Zach Polanski was on Jeremy Vine, and Reem Ibrahim says nationalise Sainsbury's, so the Backzack Twitter account did that put it up as a TikTok and then just had nationalise Sainsbury's in red under the Soviet Union.
Yeah, exactly. And they were like, oh, see, he's a communist. It's a fucking meme. He did a meme. Do you know what a joke is, anyone? Fucking hell. Oh, this is Nigel Farage in America not doing his job, getting red for filth.
Protectors of free speech, but they only want to protect speech they agree with. In the UK, Mr. Farage is openly promoting the abolition of the Human Rights Act of 1998 to be replaced with a British Bill of Rights that limits the right of free speech to British citizens and legally sanctioned residents. He complains that racist threats against immigrants are not protected free speech, while he proposes to strip migrants, tourists, and perhaps even visiting American congresspeople of any free speech rights at all. I had my own close encounter with that when Mr. Farage and his team presented for more than an hour in a conversation we had about free speech. And after 3 minutes of talking, he cut me off and terminated the meeting because he didn't like what I was saying. That's the kind of free speech he's committed to. There is a free speech...
Yeah, literally one of his own councils is refusing to speak to the press. That they're doing that already.
Crisis in America today, but there's no free speech crisis in Britain. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has not shut down GB News, where Mr. Farage has his own show, just because Mr. Farage has used his airtime to call for banning peaceful protests that he disagrees with. No one has stopped him from going on Russian TV 17 times and saying also and repeating that the one world political leader he most admired was Vladimir Putin, even though Vladimir Putin is a war criminal and a dictator who has regularly interfered in other countries' democratic elections. No one has stopped Mr. Farage from parroting...
Unlike America, who have never interfered with any election ever. And
again, it's just really frustrating. That every single side of this discussion is just like, well, my side is the one that is... Your side is the one that rigs elections. I'm like, they all do.
Yeah, it's literally... It's a group of wankers dressed as Spider-Man pointing at each other.
It's so true. It's so true.
Putin's absurd talking points, like when Farage claimed that NATO, the
Like,
US and Britain
it's really funny that they go, oh, Russia interfered in American elections, when, like, motherfucker, how did the drunkard himself get re-elected? Was it because America interfered in one of Russia's elections?
Yeah, indeed so. And you know what's funny? MI6 interfered in the 2000 Russian election to help elect Vladimir Putin under the command of Tony Blair.
Yippee! No one mentioned Operation Gladio. Don't do it. It's not necessary.
Provoked this war in Ukraine. For a man who fashions himself as some kind of a free speech martyr, Mr. Farage seems most at home with the autocrats and dictators of the world who are crushing freedom on earth. True. Mr. Farage wants to get rid of the Online Safety Act in his country, a law shepherded by the Conservative Party and implemented by the Labour Party, which bans child pornography online, protects children from harmful content, forbids non-consensual pornography and other unlawful content. He should go and advance the positions he's taking here in Congress today.
No, the Online Safety Act doesn't ban child pornography. That's already illegal.
Yeah, to be fair, that wasn't like there was. Yeah, the CP was just like everywhere, and then they're like, oh, they've taken. Oh, the nanny states banned the child porn. No, it was already very illegal. Yes. Yeah. What's this?
And yeah, this is a good policy. Scrapping OSA is a good policy.
Yeah. Although it is a bit weird that you have to like have a fucking 18+ thing to get on the r/cider subreddit. Like, that's a bit like, come on now, really? Fucking hell. You wouldn't nationalise Sainsbury's? I fucking would.
In Parliament, which is meeting today, if he's serious about it, to the people of UK who think this Putin-loving free speech imposter and Trump sycophant will protect freedom in your country, come on over to America and see what Trump and MAGA are doing to destroy our freedom, kidnap college students off the street, ban books from our libraries, militarize our police and unleash them against our communities, take over our universities, wreck our professional civil service, and turn the government into a money-making machine for Trump and his family. You might think twice before you let Mr. Farage make Britain great again. I yield back.
I mean, fair dues. Better than nothing.
I mean, absolutely.
You know, absolute chads. There you go. Just as a little aside. What was the thing you wanted to watch?
Yeah, so if you're the news agents, their Twitter feed, they
that.
did put out a clip of this. It's Nick Clegg saying that the coalition government was the best government of the last decade and a half.
That is a stiff dick of poop. Although, to be fair, that's not a high bar, I guess. Hang on. Ooh, the news agents. Look at that picture. Oh, actually, you can't see it, but it's Glinner looking fucking mental.
I love that he's just, for some reason, his head is expanded over the past like 2 decades. What's happening here? How is his head expanded?
I don't know. Maybe the transphobic moss or whatever has gotten into his fucking head and takes physically more space now. I don't know.
You scroll down a little slightly.
Scroll down slightly.
Slightly. Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So yeah, this is Nicholas Clegg, former Deputy Prime Minister, who is, I mean, how do I describe him? Dickhead?
Grotesque infiltration from another dimension.
Yeah, a man who took votes ostensibly of the left, anti-Iraq war, anti-student tuition fees votes, and gave them to the most right-wing government in British history.
He did indeed do those things. He did indeed do this, and didn't even have to.
Didn't have to. But for a ministerial jag for 5 years and his party's utter destruction, he killed 330,000 people.
Yep, and then after doing all of that, he then decided to quit politics and become some employee of Mark Zuckerberg and Meta. Shows you how much he cares for anyone other than the rich.
Yeah.
I think any reasonable assessment would suggest that government, for that 5-year period, particularly given what we inherited, in the shadow of the terrible financial crisis in 2008 was the best government that this country's had over the last decade and a half. I don't.
No.
It's just incredible. Like, incredible that you could say that. Oh, well, given the inheritance that we had, given the financial crisis. Yeah, you inherited an economy in a liquidity trap where interest rates were basically nothing, investment was at an all-time low, and we had basically no growth at all other than the growth in labour because you did loads of migration that people didn't want either, right? Like, you had a golden opportunity to rebuild a shattered economy after the financial crisis when money was essentially free for the government to borrow at a time when even rock-bottom interest rates couldn't stimulate investment. That is what a liquidity trap is. It's why it was justified to engage in monetary financing of government deficits, which is what Corbyn was advocating for in 2017, to do this big kind of public works programs to kick the economy back into gear, having had so much time of infinite stagnation. And you were out there doing austerity, right? And not just any old kind of trim around the corners austerity on things that aren't particularly meaningful. You did austerity on the poorest communities in the country. The councils that got the biggest cuts were the poorest councils in the country. You cut welfare for the most important people. You brought in universal credit. You brought in the new disability regime of PIP that was replacements for DLA that was worse. You brought in so many things. You cut investments in things such as youth centres and community centres, swimming pools, libraries, all got sold off. And at the very same time, they were giving quantitative easing money to fucking bankers who destroyed the country.
Yep.
And
you know, homelessness more than doubled, food bank usage through the roof. Just everything in the country got worse for the vast majority of people except the uber wealthy.
They signed on to the Lansley reforms, the privatisation of Royal Mail.
Yep.
The privatisation of Royal Mail, that means now this historic institution of the UK is owned by a Czech billionaire, Daniel Kretinsky, right? That wasn't even just Tory policy. You can't just say, oh, well, this was something we tried to hold them back. Vince fucking Cable did that one and sold off at bargain basement prices.
Yep.
Didn't even get good value for it.
You literally cost the taxpayer billions in underselling. Yeah.
Exactly. Cost us billions, 100%. And on top of this, what did they get in return for all of this? What did they get in return for all of this? A referendum that they fucking lost. And
A referendum
bank charges.
Yeah, a referendum that they lost that they were always going to lose because they couldn't even hold the Tories to not campaign. So the Tories gave them the thing and then campaigned against it. Brilliant, well done. And a 5p bag tax, which is nothing, really. By comparison to the damage you have done, you should hang your head in fucking shame.
330,000 excess deaths. 330,000 people. Just insane. Absolutely insane for him to say this.
And campaigned to get rid of tuition fees and then tripled them. I wonder why people don't trust politicians and their claims.
There were riots on the streets. London was quite literally on fire because of the social destruction that you signed up to, Nick, when you essentially engaged in a fucking blood pact with the worst prime minister this country's ever seen.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how you can say this was the best government ever when literally Britain had the biggest round of riots it's had in 80 years.
Yep.
Like, major British cities were ungovernable. You lost control completely. They were on fire. But, you know, that's success in your eyes? I'd hate to see what failure was.
Oh, but there was a 2012 Olympics. We all remember the 2012 Olympics, don't we? Don't we?
2012 Olympics. Where the guy who was your chancellor, if you remember, got booed. Do you remember he got booed? Yeah, I do.
Honestly, I have a lot of sympathy for Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves personally. I think they're good, decent people, but I have no sympathy for them politically because it's a series of misjudgments they've made over the last decade. And I think what they should have done, this is my view, and I felt it at the time.
How many MPs did your party have when you left?
8.
Because
again, MPs.
When you talk about misjudgments, taking a party from the highest it had ever been and literally able to form a coalition government with either of the major political parties, a credible, genuine third option, to nothing, to back to the romp you'd been for the majority of your party's history.
Yeah,
you are
fewer seats. They had fewer seats than a party that won't even take their seats in government or in parliament.
Yeah, literally, yeah. The only mistake bigger than your mistake was your mother's mistake in not aborting you to begin with.
True, so true. And you know full well this guy's a wrong 'un. Because he started off with, I think that Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves are decent people. Source?
Yeah, I don't
Source
really
on
need.
that one?
I don't need to hear much more from you after that. I formed my opinion, frankly.
Was when Trump was elected, they came out and they said the world has changed utterly. They were right. And at that point, I think they could have carried the country with them if they'd said that the world has changed utterly and we are going to change with it. We're now going to face basically a tariff war with our erstwhile...
And done what? And borrowed?
No. I think they will need to revisit taxation, but you need to do it with a full suite of taxes, which is.
So you'd say raise taxes, would you? Going into
it's part of the mix. If you're facing the highest long-term borrowing costs since the financial crash in 2008, you have a number of choices. You either
well, again, he isn't wrong. The taxes probably do need to go up, and more broadly than we're doing it right now. More taxes on the rich, more wealth taxes. He won't advocate for that because he's an Orange Book liberal, but that's what I'd advocate for. Plus a broader kind of raising of the tax thresh, the broader raising of the rates of taxation so that we're more in line with the social democratic countries in Europe. Perfectly reasonable. But when you're saying this as the man who enabled a government who, at a time when interest rates were record lows, tried to stop engaging in deficit spending and borrowing, like, how can you say this with a straight face, given what you enabled?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how you can say anything publicly. I don't know how you can show your face in public, honestly.
Literally.
Yeah. When were the Lib Dems founded? In the 80s, I think it was, wasn't it? The Gang of Four and all of that jazz. Basically, it was break away from the Labour Party, which then eventually became the kind of Liberals, and became the Social Democrats, who then hooked up with the Liberal Party, or bits of the Liberal Party, and then created the Liberal Democrats.
Yeah, they were usually just called the Alliance, where they were technically two separate parties, but they ran together, but then they officially formed the Lib Dems, I believe in 1992 or 3 or something.
No, hang on, I'll have a look. 1988.
88, okay.
Is when it's saying. But again, that could be Alliance. I don't know. Anyway.
No, because the Alliance ran in 83, so.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go then.
You have to generate more revenue. You have to either or reduce spending, or you have to raise some taxes, or a mixture of all of them. It'll be a mixture of all of them. It always is. But they've got into such trouble because they've taken off the table the very taxes where actually you can spread the burden most even. And of course I know if you read the pages of The Guardian, everyone says, just soak the rich and that'll all be solved. I'm afraid I wish it was as...
Do you mean like you did when you raised the most regressive tax in the fucking country? That being VAT.
Yeah, they said, well, we have no plans to raise VAT, and then just fucking raise it. Anyway, again, during a liquidity trap, at a time when, to try and keep aggregate demand up, they were pumping money to the financial services sector.
Yeah.
They were pumping money to the rich motherfuckers who caused the crisis in the first place, while stripping aggregate demand away from the people doing the actual consumption when investment was at record lows. It's insanity.
As easy as that. You sure you can put up taxes for the rich. That's never going to pay for the huge costs that this country now faces. You have to.
Okay, well, let's make it pay some of it then. Okay, let's say that you're correct in that assumption. Okay, but let's make sure that they pay at least some of it then.
Exactly. I mean, that's been my response to this all. It's like, probably regular tax rates do have to go up, but we cannot just get away with allowing the rich to subsume all of the wealth of society that is created by those who do the actual work that they don't do.
Yeah.
To have some broad-based tax measures included in the mix.
You were in government for 5 years with David Cameron, George Osborne. Do you speak to them still? Do you speak to David?
I haven't for a while. I think I'm...
No, he's got his trotters up. He don't speak to him at all. He's got his trotters up in the south of France. The twat.
I think we've agreed to see each other shortly, but no, I don't...
Would you call them buddies?
No.
Did they screw you? I mean, do you think...
No, they didn't screw him because they didn't need to. He was sucking him off in the rose garden from the very beginning.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so funny of him to go, oh, well, everything that was bad was the Tories' fault. Everything that was good, that's our fault. I'm like, well, if the Tories are doing bad things, you shouldn't have got into coalition with them, should you?
At the end of it, all's fair in love and elections.
No, I think in politics you shouldn't whinge about. No. I mean, by the way, when I said it's because they're not mates, because I didn't go into government to find mates. I mean, thankfully I've got a rich circle of friends of my own.
I think you mean you've got the words mixed up. You mean you've got a circle of rich friends.
But do we have perfectly civilized conversations when we meet with each other? Of course, I don't hold any animus. And on politics, you shouldn't go to politics. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. I made mistakes. I think.
See, I can't do the joke I want to do now because it would definitely be terms of service.
But we all know what you're trying to say.
It's got nothing to do with supporting Palestine action because that would be terrorism. So I wouldn't say that.
It's illegal to say.
Coalition government,
literally
I think
terrorism.
Passing day, in my view, of course, maybe I'm not wholly objective, but I think any reasonable assessment would suggest that government for that 5-year period, particularly given what we inherited in the shadow of the terrible financial crisis in 2008, was the best government that this country's had over the last decade and a half. And I think
not true. Liz Truss killed the Queen, so straight away she beat you.
Or just in general, Boris Johnson actually spent money. Let's be real.
To be fair, he said, I'm going to get Brexit done, and he fucking did. I mean, in a weird and slightly illegal way, but it doesn't matter. He made a promise, and he actually kept it, unlike you, Nick.
Yeah, in 2020, interest rates went negative. People would pay the government to borrow money. And Boris Johnson was like, okay, I will spend money on the NHS. And that's something that you never did, right? Yeah. Imagine being to the right of Boris Johnson. Incredible.
And it paid off for him in the end because he ended up getting COVID, the dopey bastard, and they saved his life. So,
literally.
The record shows that it was a reforming government. We had the fastest growing G7 economy. We had low employment. Things we didn't fix were things like productivity.
What world are you in where any of that was true?
And even then, sure, you had some good growth at some point. Investment was basically nil, and hundreds of thousands of people died. Yeah. Growth was very high in the financial services sector that your government was pumping quantitative easing money into. But that's where the growth was. House prices went up. Oh, wow, that's loads of actual growth. Yeah, but people fucking died, Nick.
Yeah, do you know what also grew? The piles of corpses.
The queues for the food banks.
Yeah.
The number of homeless people.
Oh, massively so. Yeah, absolutely.
Activity and real wage increases were slow to come through, and then unfortunately finally started coming through, and then everything was undone by that madness of Brexit. Which I still think is one of the greatest acts of
you see, every single fucking time with these people, oh, well, actually, there were some things we got wrong, but we got most of the things right. Well, the big call's right, but then, everything went wrong with Brexit. I'm like, no. You murdered hundreds of thousands of people with shitty policy that you agreed to, that you voted for, right? We have the stats. We know what happened. Stop trying to blame shit for Brexit when it was your terrible economic policies that you waved through with no opposition in 2010 to 2015, where everything went wrong. Yeah. And Brexit happened because of that.
Yeah,
exactly. Brexit is a symptom.
Yeah, absolutely. Good question in chat. Who's worse, Blair or Cameron, taking both domestic and foreign policy into account?
Oh, Cameron, 100%, without a doubt.
Well, okay, hear me out. I think it's a lot closer. Because whilst you do have you do have foreign policy fuck-ups like Syria and Libya, he was a relatively minor part of that, whereas I think Tony Blair has to take at least a fair chunk of the blame for the God knows how many hundreds of thousands of dead Iraqis and millions displaced and the complete fuck-up of the entire region, which also, by the way, then led to the war in Syria. So I think it's a bit closer than definitely. But I would still say Cameron, yeah.
I can understand your point there, but I think obviously they both had big foreign policy fuck-ups. So I think you're right. Blair is probably more to blame for Iraq than Cameron is for Libya. Although I thought Libya was more egregious almost than Iraq, because of the state the country was left in was even worse than Iraq was left. Fewer people died. It was a smaller intervention, but Libya was overly done.
I don't remember the Baghdadi slave markets. That is true.
Yeah, it's the I guess the long-term consequences of the power vacuum that allowed the rise of ISIS is also probably worse than
exactly
than the Libyan slave markets. But if we're just going to say that, right, okay, maybe it's a score draw, maybe it's 1-0 to Blair on this, but in reality, when you also take into account all of the economic policies and how, even though Blair did bad things, they were kind of reversible and there were some good things in there. Like all of Cameron's was bad. It was all bad economic policy, and the bad monetary policy that they did essentially ruined the country forever, and we'll never be able to recover from the damage that they did. So I think broadly, you have to. Cameron is he's just the worst prime minister of all time. He's just so bad.
Yeah, that's true. And some people might say lose trust, but again, she did murder the Queen with her bare hands. So you've got to give us a look. Take the rough with the smooth. Okay. Also gave us a fucking meme for the ages with that fucking lettuce. So.
True. Also, thank you, Bunker Cat 36 for the raid. Welcome in.
Harm really in the last century for our country.
The Newsagents. This is a Global Player original podcast.
Oh, that's the end. Okay. Well,
What a bell end.
A massive bell end. Massive bell end. Yeah. Also saying that Facebook had nothing to do with getting Trump elected. That's interesting, considering the Trump campaign and all their PACs spent lots of money on Facebook. You should have told them that they had nothing to do with it then, shouldn't you?
True. Very true.
What a piece of garbage.
There's so much evidence for it as well. So much evidence from the Mueller report.
Right, is there anything else, or do you want to watch PMQs?
I don't really care about PMQs. Should we watch Cross Question? Because Ash Sarkar was on it, and we'll almost certainly get some good clips. And she's far more interesting than fucking Sir Ken Stonger.
Yeah.
And apparently PMQs was boring as well anyway.
Well, it always is, but that's sort of why I enjoy it. Does that sound mental? I think that probably sounds mental, but there we go. Yeah, I like being able to get angry at how fucking shit they are. If that makes sense. I wish they weren't shit. That would be cool. But like the fact that they are means I can rage about it. Anyway, okay. Ash Sarkar, or as I like to call her, Team Uno Justice.
True.
Because you were literally on doing the analysis with on Navarra, weren't you? After the interview with the new leader of the Green Party. Which basically means you're like the Nick Clegg of not being a wanker.
The problem is, of course, I cannot be as good as Ash Sarkar because I can't get invited onto LBC because I keep mocking Ian Dale for that time that he assaulted a granddad in public.
True. Also, Ian Dale is really annoyed that that Zack Polanski has released this. Was it Bold Politics? No, Bold Politics. Sorry, no, Bold Politics. My bad. Sorry.
A very good evening and welcome to Wednesday's Cross Question. It's 8:02 here on LBC. Joining us on the panel tonight, to my right, Baroness Nicky Morgan, who is a non-affiliated peer, former Conservative Cabinet Minister and currently chair of the...
Why is she non-affiliated? What? That doesn't make no sense.
The Advertising Standards Authority. Next to her, Ash Sarkar, contributing editor of Navarra Media. To my left, Baroness Harriet Harman, Labour peer, former deputy leader, who co-hosts the podcast Electoral Dysfunction.
God, the fucking melon cat. The fucking melon cat hair is inescapable. Why?
I don't know.
Why are they all melon cat?
It was the sensible thing to have as a woman in politics in the 90s, and so they just stuck with it forever. It's sensible. It shows you mean business. It's not completely stuffy and like dull, but it's not exciting either, because you don't want to be radical in any way whatsoever.
And next to her, Lionel Barber, journalist, author and broadcaster, former editor of the Financial Times. And
he looks like he's killed and will kill again.
It's just sort of weird that you'd expect someone with that kind of face to have grey hair, and he's aged remarkably well in terms of the hair department. Yeah, maybe he's just not that old and he's just wrinkly.
Well, that's because he drinks the baby brains. Definitely.
Now
I really hope he's not Jewish.
Sue me. I fucking don't know. I'm only joking.
Confidential podcast.
He's fluent in
They're here to
French
take
and German though. And he's aged 70. So yeah, actually, if he's aged 70 and he's still pretty much
that's amazing. I genuinely, I would not have ever guessed as high as 70.
No, he's doing well. I mean, again, and that doesn't look like dyed hair either.
No, although he looks like he's so grumpy, his soul has been sucked out of him.
We went to the same private school as Nigel Farage and then went to Oxford University. What a fucking surprise. Kel bloody surprise. Also, I mean, have we school checked Nicky Morgan yet?
she seems relatively normal. I wouldn't expect her to be like. Well, I mean, they don't have girls at Eton, but you get the point.
Privately educated at Surbiton High School and read jurisprudence at St Hugh's College, Oxford.
Yeah, that's yeah.
She's how embarrassing her life is. She was beaten to be the chair of the Oxford University Conservative Association by fucking Daniel Hannan.
Oh, stinky poos! That is bad.
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
Your questions on 0345 6060 973. And of course, you can watch us on Global Player and the LBC app.
Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850. Cross question with Ian Dale. This is LBC.
Let's go to our first question. It's from Archie in Inverness. Does the panel agree that the Angela Rayner debacle demonstrates that we can only expect our politicians to admit to wrongdoing when there remains no remotely tenable lie left to tell? What a cynical question.
No, it's you can expect them to remain the same when there are no actual consequences. Because she's gone to the standards committee, and what's going to happen after that? She's going to get the severest wrist slap in history. Like, nothing's going to happen. You need to stop. Again, I mean, I do the joke about the trebuchet, but the actual thing would be that you need to actually face legal and financial consequences for your actions. And they don't. Fundamentally, they just don't.
Exactly.
That is. Harriet Harman,
if you put shit in our rivers, you go to jail. If you steal from the taxman, and look, I mean, within reason, I don't mind someone who's on fuck all earning a bit on the side without paying tax. But I'm talking like if you've got a third house that you're not paying tax on, you go to jail.
And it's also these same Labour MPs who are defending Angela Rayner of this, same ones who want to have more crackdowns on the welfare state. Seeing that.
Intriguing, I know. Yeah.
Come to you first. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt that you were going to have to resign over something?
Oh, numerous times. You've probably got a better memory for them than I have.
I can't think of one.
I mean, the thing about being in government, and obviously Nikki will know this very well, is that...
I don't even remember this happening. This is amazing. Nikki Morgan's highlight of her career was the time that she... Hang on. Pulled out of Have I Got News For You, and they replaced her with a leather bag.
That's a good one.
There you go. Former Education Secretary pulled out of the show after angering Downing Street by criticising Prime Minister Theresa May's £995 leather trousers. Okay, there you go. Yes. Hang on.
To be fair, it's not the harshest criticism Theresa May's ever got.
No, that is true. That is true.
That has to go to Andrea Leadsom for saying that she shouldn't be Prime Minister because she's not a mum.
Your barren womb means you can never occupy number 10, whereas I have a fruitful vag and must therefore occupy the seat of power.
What a simpler time that was, right?
Yeah, mad. Thank you, Jeff 2526. Why have they added numbers to everyone's fucking names on YouTube? It's very annoying. Anyway, thank you for 5 gifties on the YouTube. It's much love. Don't forget, everybody, if you wanted to and are able to, you can give support to both myself and or No Justice MTG in the form of bits and subscriptions and memberships and super chats and etc. etc. Much love.
Give us money.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah.
It's a great privilege and it's a very high office, but it feels sometimes like walking a high wire, and nobody gives, I suppose quite rightly, politicians any benefit of the doubt, and nobody seems to believe politicians can ever act in good faith. So it's jeopardy. From the moment you wake up in the morning till the moment...
Right, but if any of you did act in good faith, it would be easier to believe that some of you are acting in good faith. But as you don't, it becomes impossible.
It is just funny. Like, they try and say, oh, well, if you act improper, then you get scrutinised. I'm like, yes, Obviously, you get scrutinised if you act improper, and it's weird that somehow always all the career politicians who get done in for these impropriety, that the most that they could fucking find on Corbyn as somebody who's been a politician for like half a century almost, right? Been a politician for so many years, and the biggest dirt they could find was he once laid a wreath for some dead people who got murdered in an Israeli
he was also a
airstrike.
spy for Czechoslovakia. Fact. Anyway.
The guy, the fucking, remember the article about his jacket?
Yeah. He didn't genuflect at the right angle at the cenotaph. Like, what the fuck is this? Absolute nonsense.
Exactly.
Also, like, this cheeky fucker to be like, oh, so you can't do anything, you can't do right for doing wrong. You were in the government of Tony Blair when he did illegal war crimes.
The fucking expenses scandal, cash for honours. Remember that shit?
He literally lied openly about weapons of mass destruction that could be destroy London in 45 minutes. And you just went, oh, that's fine. And now you wonder why people don't trust politicians. Look in the mirror.
The moment you go to bed at night, and also whilst you're still asleep, there is jeopardy all the time. So I was like nearly falling off the edge loads of times, and indeed once did fall off the edge, but let's not talk about me.
Lionel, looking at it from the other point of view as a newspaper editor, you can almost sense that some newspapers are scenting blood here. But, I mean, what about the cynicism expressed in the question? Because there will be many people listening tonight that believe that all politicians are inevitably doing wrong. They get no benefit of the doubt. Now, Angela Rayner has come out today, opened her heart, really, in many ways, in the statement and the interview that she did. And yet there will still be people that think, no, she's a wrong 'un.
Well, it's deeply corrosive if the media always assumes that politicians are lying. That's clearly not the case here in the regarding Angela Rayner's somewhat complicated living arrangements. I mean, she was in the middle of a divorce. She's also trying to protect the privacy of her children, one of whom is disabled. But there are 3 properties involved.
No amount of she's got a disabled kid and he's getting divorced excuses the fact that she didn't pay her fucking tax.
I mean, it's just...
Like, it doesn't matter to me. You can throw up all this weird smoke about it if you want to. And actually, that's a perfectly, like, humane response to it. But ultimately, you've got, like, backroom people who know all about this. Presumably, you've got an accountant.
You're the deputy prime minister.
Yeah, this is not remotely acceptable. Come on.
No.
If there were any ethics left in government, I mean, none of them would be there. But she would also not be there now.
And again, it's just, I do hope that the point Ash brings up is I'm just like, well, were you like labouring under the impression that she was a morally grounded individual, given the hoodwinking that she's had to engage in to become one with the Politburo? You know, like. Yeah. This isn't
like, it's mad to me that the first time that they've ever really full-throatedly come out and supported her is in defence of her corruption.
Exactly. When she was being attacked for existing whilst working class in Northern, not a fucking peep.
Yeah,
not a single peep from these people when she was being monitored in the press for vaping in a canoe or wearing.
Well, that time they lied and
on the beach.
Said that she got her pussy out in Parliament.
Yeah,
literally. Again, where were these fucking people to defend her then? Nowhere. But now that she's done some corruption, she's one of us. We must protect. Fucking hell, these people.
Yeah, they'll only defend her on the grounds of things that she does that rich people do.
Yeah, exactly. Now she's acting like a rich person. So that's the one thing you're allowed to do in Westminster is corruption.
And she was employing supposedly sophisticated tax advice, which doesn't seem to have been first class, and she's taken too long to come clean. Now, again, there's a complication here, which is always a problem for the media, which is she had in effect an injunction to protect ostensibly to protect the interests of the children. So if you take all that into account, it's not so black and white. If you look at it superficially, here you have a single mother from a young age, working class, quite happy to talk about soaking the rich, and then seems to have 3 homes. You can see why the story was pursued. Last point, this was a completely legitimate story for the press to pursue. Yes, the Telegraph wants a scalp, but it was a legitimate story, and she hasn't handled it very well.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, well,
Oh, so that wasn't... Oh, I thought that was you. Sorry.
I think in terms of...
Apologies for comparing you to Harriet Harman. My bad.
The biggest
Lionel-
insult.
Yeah, I know. You know what? I can never come back from that. I'll just commit
No,
Harry
a
Carey
friendship
in the corner
over.
now. Yeah, that's fair.
mentioned and said it was like an injunction. I think it was an order of the family court, and family courts have to remain private in the interests of children unless you apply to the court and say there's an overriding interest for me to be able to disclose something that's happened in court. So an injunction is usually what somebody applies for in order to stop everybody talking about it.
Yeah, you can tell that I'm a journalist, not a lawyer.
Yes, it was-
Harriet,
it
you're
was-
completely right.
Thank you. It was quite the other way around.
As a
But the
former
other thing I
Solicitor
would
General.
say is that the one thing I can never imagine Angela Rayner doing is sitting down and saying to some tax advisor, can you tell me, let's work out how I can minimise my tax. There is nothing about the way...
Why? What, she doesn't have economic self-interest? Like, I've no problem with someone saying, can we minimise the tax? Because no one wants to pay tax, really. Like, it's sort of annoying to have to do that. Inconvenient, and economically it doesn't serve your own immediate best interests. So people not wanting to pay tax is perfectly sensible. It's when they do so, like, illegally, or in the very least immorally, which this does appear to have been.
Angela goes about things, which is about trying to pay less tax or enrich herself. So I absolutely would...
No, a person with 3 houses would never try and enrich themselves. Are you
again,
listening to yourself? What?
Part of the uproar as well is the perceived hypocrisy, as well, of somebody who does want to tax second homeowners, and the reason why she would pay the stamp duty that she didn't pay is because she would be a second homeowner, because it's not actually moving out of the house that she already owns. It's putting that house currently into a trust, which means that despite the fact that she still isn't technically an owner, her name's not on the deeds. Fundamentally, that doesn't make it not a second house just because it's in a trust for her son. That means you have to pay the stamp duty. Again, it's complex. I'm not saying that it's easy, and this is the first time I'm sure that she's had enough money to buy a second house, right? But fundamentally, the fact that it was covered up for so long, she didn't just come clean and say, I was given bad advice and tried to string this out. That's ultimately her fault.
Yeah. The cover-up's always worse than the scandal itself.
Will firmly believe...
Well, in terms of the politics, if you understand, not morally.
That she has not intended to pay less tax than she should. And, I know people will think this is a bit of an excuse, but she doesn't come from a family background where people have accountants or have, my parents had accountants. My parents had owned their own property, so knew about buying and selling property. And she doesn't come from that background.
I want you to imagine going back to 2009-10, well, say under the Cameron government, where you had a Tory housing minister who had done...
I think you mean the best government of the last decade and a half.
Exactly the same here. You'd be all over that, wouldn't you?
Well, all I'm saying is what I know about Angela Rayner. And, Lionel's
Question
said that
dodged.
it's a legitimate story and people are going after it. And indeed, she's now referred herself to the ethics advisor to the Prime Minister. But I'll tell you what...
Yeah, which again, as someone reminds me, the favourite Frankie Boyle line, it has all the authority of a do not tumble dry label. Like, literally, the ethics committee to the Prime Minister is irrelevant. I don't care.
One thing about the ethics advisor and the code is in this world of social media, I'm not sure that this code really still works in the way it should, because it says you've not only got to avoid wrongdoing, but you've got to avoid the perception of wrongdoing.
Caesar's wife must be above suspicion.
Yeah, like literally, but that's how it's not just, it's, Jesus Christ, I can't believe the very, very obvious and like ancient as fuck principle that it's not just that justice be done, but the perception of justice is done. has
Well,
to
also on
like
top of
that's
this-
that's so strange and foreign to her. What?
Well, also, just like even if you think that is going too far about the being on perception, well, luckily for all of us in this discussion, she did do something wrong.
Yeah.
It's not a perception that matters here. She materially did something incorrect.
Yeah.
Suspicion.
But the trouble is now, suspicion is absolutely endemic in relation to everybody on the internet. It says
Maybe if your party hadn't lied about everything, it wouldn't be so suspicious.
Ministers must ensure
Sorry,
that
I couldn't really get past your plea for decency here over the screams in my head of the moral case for socialism being made. Apologies. Sorry, your 5 missions drowned you out there.
no conflict arises or appears to arise between their public interests and their private public duties and their private interests. So no conflict arises or appears to arise. Well, all you have to do is go on social media and everybody's appearing to be doing everything wrong. So this
Just one second. Just finally, though,
I want to know what it says on Ash's T-shirt. I can't quite make it out. It's annoying me.
Mr. something, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like Mr. Ali or something, but I don't know what that is.
Finds in any way that she has acted wrongly, whether it was intentional or not, she will have to resign, won't she?
Well, I hope it doesn't get to that, because I think
But if it does?
I wish her well. I think she's a great asset
But
to
if
the
it
government.
does?
And it will have been a completely honest mistake by somebody who's not about, greedily enriching herself. So I'm not going to go down the path of saying if X happens, she'll have to go,
Ash.
because I'm hoping it won't happen.
I think that you can empathise on a human level and say she's clearly in some difficult personal circumstances. I think lots of people have empathy for the challenges that come with having a disabled child. And I think you can hold that space whilst also at the same time being of the view that when you are Deputy Prime Minister, you are held to different standards, and that's good and it's proper. And this is where I completely disagree with you, Harriet, I'm afraid, which is about conflict of interest and perceived conflict of interest. The reason why it's important that the word perceived is in there is that you're not asking us to live in a politician's head and think, okay, but really what was their intention? That you do take the view that how things come across, the public trust in politicians, that really matters, and it should be taken care of. It should be nurtured and looked after.
And it's not even just the perception. Like, they think just announcing that they have a conflict of interest is itself okay. No, you shouldn't have a conflict of interest. You shouldn't have that at all. If you have a conflict of interest, you need to, at the very least, recuse yourself on that particular topic, and ideally not be in Parliament.
Exactly. There's the rotten thing about our system is that what we have is we have a register of interests. Again, most of which you do after getting elected. So it's not like you can even be held to account during the electoral process if you're a new MP. And then you say, here's my conflict of here are my conflicts of interest, judge me upon them if I've acted. Rather than saying, no, you're not allowed to be here with these conflicts of interest. You just declare it, and then it is up to the public to scrutinise the list of interests to be able to understand whether or not their MP is corrupt or not. And that is all after they've been elected, right? If there's someone who's corrupt and they go after the election, well, look at all of these conflicts of interest that I have. I'm like, well, I'm stuck with somebody who has got potentially unclean motives for the next 5 fucking years.
Yep.
I understand that being a politician must be a really high pressure job. You take it home with you. It must be a source of a lot of anxiety. But I guess that's what the money and the power is for. It's a little bit tiny violin. It's like, oh, it's really stressful. She made a human mistake. Lots of people in this country don't get to make human mistakes and don't get the benefit of the doubt, especially poorer people, quite frankly.
Nicky Morgan, I sort of keep going back to the expenses scandal. Now, you weren't in Parliament when that was going on, we should emphasise. But a lot of people caught up in that, whether they were Tory, Labour, whatever, they had taken advice on what they should do from the House of Commons Fees Office, and indeed maybe from legal or accountants. And yet they were still found guilty by the Court of Public Opinion, even though, my friend Jackie Smith is a good example of this, where she was accused of flipping a house.
My friend Jackie Smith. This is the Fourth Estate, everybody. This is the independent holding their feet to the fire, definitely not bought and paid for, trumpeting the ruling class's messages. No. Independent media. Yeah.
And this isn't just an MP, and she's not, and she, obviously she's not an MP anymore, right? But she's a government junior minister. She's in the Department for Education because she got appointed to the Lords to be there because we are just on the Blairite fucking reunion tour. Government. That's what this is, you know.
Yeah, basically.
And so she's a member of the House of Lords and a member of the government, and she's best mates with Ian Dale.
My my best mate, Jackie S. Oh, I do love a free press, don't you?
Houses, and she said, but that's what they told me to do.
Well, also,
I think they're very different situations. I mean, I think
also worth pointing out, right? The house flipping stuff, maybe. Her husband bought a fucking porn movie on expenses.
That did
can
also
Can we talk about that for
a
second?
That literally did happen. Yeah. Because he's a massive wanker.
I mean, speaking of the fact that she's been appointed to the House of Lords to be a junior minister, she literally said tearfully upon her resignation back during the expenses scandal, I don't deserve to be a member of the House of Lords. But when did that fucking stop Sir Keith, did it?
No. Of course not. There's nothing he loves more than scandal-rid Blair ministers. Like, some of them get nice, expensive trips to Washington to chum around with their old friend from the island. Oh, well, yeah, I'll leave it there.
Expenses, and that's it is a different issue. It involved obviously taxpayers' money. I think
so does this in a way.
Stamp duty, right?
Well, it's a different thing. I think.
But it means the public purse is 40 grand less well off than it would have been otherwise.
Well, potentially, that's what the tax council and tax advisors have got to get to the bottom of, and everything else.
Jesus Christ, this cunt's in the fucking House of Lords. Oh,
I go,
just these bumbling upper-class twats, the most pathetically inept, incompetent wankers. But because they're posh enough, they just get to run everything. It's embarrassing. But that's what this country is such a shithole, because we elect, not just the elect, we give power to the most incompetent wankers because they're posh enough.
And not only she it's funny, like, you never hear someone like Nicky Morgan defending either a Labour politician or a working class woman. But as soon as they're flipping houses, now the defences come out, don't they? Now they do.
Because she's acting like one of the in-crowd now. She's not doing that silly stuff about, like, housing poor people or something. No, she's doing serious politics.
I mean, the simple answer to I think where we started, which was Lionel's point, which is if we are totally cynical about all politicians, always, then even more this country is going to get the politicians that it deserves. I would have thought the lesson from today is why...
Phil Decker with the real serious issue. Jesus Christ, my chat are amazing. It was pay-per-view, and he paid 20 quid for a fucking softcore wank and then charged us for it. So if it had been hardcore, you think that would have been good value for money on the public dime, do you?
Honestly, yeah,
Yeah. Like, at least get some really nasty shit going. I'd have been on board with that if you got some real filth. But he barely saw a pube. It was embarrassing.
You know what's funny as well? It's like she's out here going, well, if you cynically don't trust politicians, then you'll get the politicians that you deserve. And I'm just like, whether we do or we don't, we get the politicians we deserve. They've all been fucking shit.
Yeah. They have all been rubbish. Like, I'm sorry, is there some period in history where they were super awesome or something? Or let's say in recent history. Like, no one likes politicians. And there's a reason they don't. It's because you're shite. So many of you are on the take,
Yeah. Thank you, Vaminsky, for the 5 gifts, because I'm also on the take.
I am also on the take, and I will take whatever you're giving, chat. Actually,
it's really funny. Yeah. Luke Trill, Luke Trill from More in Common, literally toasted like, there's this perception that many of the government ministers are just all on the take. It's a really damaging perception of politicians in this country. And I'm like, maybe, just a thought. Maybe it would help if they weren't on the take.
Yeah, that would certainly improve the situation, I feel. Yeah.
Again, would anybody want to go into politics, actually? Because she's had to sit there and lay out all of her family circumstances, the divorce,
the settlement with the hospital, the disabled son. And I think the question at the end, about lying, I'm obviously we'll have to see whether everything is out there. But if you can't say something because of court order, and she presumably had to go to the court last night and say, I need this to be lifted so that I can explain. The question today, Lyle's right. It's perfectly legitimate for the press to ask these questions. What we don't know, of course, is whether she actually said to the journalists when they started, look, I can't talk about this publicly, but this is the situation. My suspicion is she didn't, which is why they carried on digging. But now she's said it. Keir Starmer had better hope that Angela Rayner has said absolutely everything today about this, because I think we've been on this programme before and said it's the cover-up that always gets you. If there is anything that she has left out of the picture today, that will make life very difficult and very uncomfortable for her and for Number 10.
Well, I do hope she's not got any hypno-boob in the past, because the media will be absolutely all over it.
I personally think that if she's put everything out there, I think the public might not like it. They might say, well, you pay it. But I think there will be some understanding that this involves complicated family circumstances. But Harriet's point, and I agree in a way with you, Ash, which is, as a senior politician, you have to think the whole. I used to be paranoid about making sure that I'd not only done the right thing, I was driving at the right speed, and I've had plenty of parking.
Okay, could you have taken that attitude towards your actual job instead of just being an ineffective piece of garbage? Because that might have helped you in your political career, I feel. Thank you, Vaminsky, who says, Kev, taking what I give is my best offer this week. Yeah, go on. Yeah. I'm on board.
Speeding fines, but you've got to try and think the whole time.
70.
Actually. I said plenty.
Oh, sorry.
70, blimey.
It's more than Harriet.
Yes, Lewis Hamilton over here.
You've got to think the whole time, exactly, not just what have I done the right thing, but have I been seen to do the right thing, and can I justify it if it ends up on the front page of a newspaper? And that's the big test now for Angela Rayner and everything else. But you can't be cynical all the time about the people who put themselves forward. Otherwise, we are going to get nobody decent to try to run this country.
And I'm with Harriet. I think it's the perception test is nonsense. Let's deal with the facts. Was she lying or misleading everybody about whether this was her principal residence?
I don't know this person's particular politics or whatever, but I would imagine that in his time as an editor of a newspaper, he may have printed some things that maybe suggest that actually the intention of a politician is much more important than the fact. Is what I would think. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's talking shit now. Possibly because he likes Angela Rayner. I don't know.
Secondary residence.
Do you know what? Who was it? Who was the politician? It was Jake Berry. Jake Berry admitted that he had a picture of Angela Rayner on his wall because he thought she was hot.
I mean, she's not hot.
I mean, I agree. I just think it's weird for a Tory
It is.
to do it.
It is. Well, it's weird for anyone to say it, really. Like, don't get me wrong.
Stop it.
You can say, "Oh,
Get
I
some
think
help.
she's attractive" or whatever. That's fine. But you've got a picture of her on your wall. Are you a fucking psychopath?
Literally, here's
You
the
don't know.
quote.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Angela Rayner is pinned up on his MP's office wall because she is a very attractive woman. I mean, okay. You know what? You enjoy
that's
yourself.
weird.
You
No,
enjoy
I know.
yourself, yeah.
I'll say that's weird because technically she's a
Well, it's
colleague.
certainly weird. I mean, it certainly is weird.
She's a colleague. That is. That is like all I'm saying is in a normal job situation, HR would be involved. You can't really usually do that. Thank you, Eric the Red, for 16 months. Like zombies, when you think you have seen the last of Tories, when they come back from the dead, it's very unsettling. Well, true, but I also I think they are dead now in the water. I think they're holed below the waterline. There is a new Conservative Party in town. Simple as that.
The issue about privacy, how far can she defend her position because she was trying to look after the interests of her children? This it has to be taken in the round. But regarding
she was looking after the interest of her 40,000 children. Yeah, definitely.
Perception. Sorry, Ash. Don't agree.
Harriet, where does this leave Angela Rayner's position in the Labour Party? Because I was saying earlier in the programme that I thought she was the current under-the-bus candidate. If Keir Starmer fell by the wayside for whatever reason, she would be the one most likely to win a leadership election. Even if it all turns out right for her and she doesn't have to resign, it will have damaged her, won't it?
I think the Labour Party is very strongly supportive of Angela Rayner. She's very well liked.
Why ask a Labour Party politician? What you need to do, honestly, and I think that Michael Portillo is the best example of this, you need to only interview people who used to be politicians. Because they're far more brutally honest. There's obviously still a political bias to them, but they don't have to toe a party line anymore. So they've been on the inside, they have the experience and knowledge, they still have some of the contacts as well, and they'll actually speak their mind a bit. Whereas, like, you might as well literally go to the fucking Soviet Union Politburo for a statement. Like, this is nothing. She's going to say
you might as well
absolutely
go to the
nothing of
Israeli
interest.
government to investigate the IDF.
Was that another whoopsie doopsie? Oh, crazy how many times that keeps happening. Oh.
A strange mishap.
She's very energetic. I mean, I remember her coming to my constituency when I was an MP in Peckham, and she'd already done a constituency dinner somewhere over in East London, and then she came to my constituency event in a really sweating pub. Everybody was actually pouring sweat. She spoke to every single person there and made them feel 10 feet tall. She was really interested to hear about them, and
what the fuck has this got to do with anything?
I mean, maybe if you'd had that kind of application towards winning elections when Jeremy Corbyn was leader of the Labour Party, we wouldn't be in this position, Harriet.
Yeah, true. Very true.
And that has got quite an electrifying effect on the Labour Party, and she's been doing that for years. And people,
yeah, the true answer to this is if this works out okay, people will completely forget about this, and if it came to it, she'd still be quite popular and would probably win a leadership election. Is the actual answer?
Much. Yeah, pretty much.
Think that she really cares and she understands them because she's had, you know, a tough upbringing. So I think that if she gets through this, and I hope she will, it will be fine as far as the Labour Party is concerned. I mean, it does make it difficult when, you know, if Rachel Reeves is saying everybody's got to be paying their tax, that's the most important thing. It makes it a little bit more anxious.
And Ash, how did the left see Angela Rayner now? Because she was always seen, when Jeremy Corbyn first came to power, she was seen as Corbynista.
Well, she was the momentum candidate for deputy party leader.
Indeed. So, but do they see her as a bit of a sellout now?
Well, I think that is the view of people who would have described themselves as Corbynites or socialists. For me, actually, it was something that Angela Rayner said on a sort of live podcast recording with Matt Ford that made me not want to vote Labour again. And what she said was...
To be fair, appearing with Matt Ford would also make me not want to vote for someone as well.
Literally, you could have said anything, but you have given Matt Ford credence to exist by appearing on his platform, and that is a line I will not let crop you off. That's a red line.
You have purposefully and willingly breathed the same air as that creature, and I can't trust you after that.
When it comes to terrorists, shoot first and ask questions later. Now, I understand in the case of a marauding terrorist why you'd want a shoot to kill policy, but I don't like the idea of any politician saying shoot first, ask questions later, when one of those questions might be, is this person really a terrorist? Because I was...
And, of course, when the Prime Minister she is serving, when he was head of the public prosecutions, literally went out of his way to quash any possible... court case against the killers of John Charles de Menezes, who was thought to be a terrorist and then was shot in the head like 20 times by police.
And now, as Prime Minister, he now treats old ladies holding signs as terrorists. So...
Well, thankfully, you will never hear me say, I, Kevin Logan, support Palestine action, because that would be terrorism. So you'll never hear me say it. It's illegal.
It's totally illegal to say.
14 years you can get for that. So I won't say it, ever.
Quite young when the shooting of John Charles de Menezes happened, but it had a real impact on me. That the decision...
I wasn't that young. I was attending an anti-Iraq war meeting at a church in the centre of Birmingham when that happened, because I remember the news breaking and people were like, there's been a terrorism in London. And then you get home and it's, oh no, it's just a Brazilian guy who they murked. Fucking hell.
by police to take a life is one of the most significant and profound things they can do. So to see a politician handling it so lightly and laughing it off.
What's about Forward podcast? I mean, it is. I mean, he is a comedian. He's a brilliant interviewer.
Really, it's never made me laugh.
Really? Well, that
Not my
maybe says
guy.
more about you than me.
I'm not
I
a
don't
funny
know.
person, clearly. But look, I just
To be
think-
fair, if Matt Ford got cancer, I'd laugh.
Thing is that it frustrates you know that Ash really wants to say, well, of course I don't. He's a tedious, centrist blowhard who loves the smell of his own farts.
Yeah.
But of course she can't say that.
Because she's a professional, yes. Yeah. Whereas I'll say it, he's a cunt. Yeah.
think that, and I put the questions to her office, asking, do you want to clarify this? I wrote a piece about it, and they
That's
just
the point.
completely stood.
Now that I'm a Green Party member, do I have to stop referring to their MPs as briefcase wankers? Am I allowed? Is that under the? I don't know. I haven't read the rules very well.
By it, there were no caveats.
I mean, it would help if they stopped doing that. If they stopped being that, I wouldn't have to describe them now.
Nuances. And I can understand why you do that. I can understand when Jeremy Corbyn was hauled over coals about shoot to kill policies, why politically you do it. But for me, it was just a sign that what's truthful and what's important was less significant to her than what was politically convenient, and that's when I made my decision.
I think it shows to me that she's not a calculating, polished, ultra considerate. She speaks more spontaneously. I think people recognise that.
That's not very adults in the room.
Also, she fucking has a disabled son and voted for fucking disabled disability benefit cuts. Fuck her. Fuck her.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to get some Frosties, by the way. So keep it playing. I'll be listening on my headphones, but
I like that you specified Frosties. Okay. No.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That people recognise that in her. She's not guarded.
No, but would you? It's not about being guarded, but wouldn't you want someone who, was deputy leader of the party at that time? She's now a deputy prime minister, to go, actually, how police view suspects is really, really important, and someone who has come from a
and that's no doubt what she believes. But she just made a flippant remark because she's not always.
Her office stood by it entirely when I was like, "Do you want to clarify this in any way?" They said no.
Right, we'll have more questions from you in just a moment. 0345 6060 973. It's 18 minutes past 8.
Okay, enough. Let's get past the hour.
20 past 8. Harriet Harman, Nicky Morgan, Lionel Barber and Ash Sarkar are here. Corey has promised me a biscuit if you can get through 2 questions in the next 10 minutes. So that is your challenge. Although given I'm on Manjaro, I probably won't accept it and stuff it back in his mouth. Right. Let's go to Mohammed in Ealing. Mohammed, very good evening. What would you like to say?
Very good evening to you too, Ian, and very good evening to all the panellists. My question is, in today's Britain, are police powers too restrictive of freedom of speech?
Well, this is
Well, as I can't say anything about a certain group without going to prison forever, yeah, I'd say so. When they're arresting blind guys in fucking motorised wheelchairs for being terrorists, yeah, I think you've gone too far, lads.
obviously in the wake of what we were talking about in the last hour with the Graham Linehan tweets. He was greeted by 5 armed police officers at Heathrow. And then,
but that's not about freedom of speech. He called for someone to be punched in the genitals. What the fuck? That's an outright call to violence. Now, he can claim it's a joke, and that's, possibly what he did intend. But the understanding that the police would maybe want to question him on that surely is understandable.
Yeah, they were armed police because they were at an airport. Probably need 5 of them. Probably need to make a scene. Could have sent him a letter. Whatever. There was poor execution. But the idea that, at the very least, you shouldn't even be questioned about this when it seems to me like the defense of it being a joke is ridiculous because he believes trans women are a threat. He does believe that we're violent by existing, and he does think, and I can only imagine that would lead to him advocating for violence against us as a form of preemptive self-defense, right?
Yeah.
The idea that this was a joke is fucking nonsensical to me.
Yeah.
Then you have Nigel Farage, I would say betraying his country in the United States today. Ash Sarkar.
Nigel goes to Washington, eh? When it comes to police powers and freedom of speech, I think there is a real problem. Now, Graham Linehan is someone who I think has a fixation and an obsession with trans people, a kind of monomania, but I don't think...
Possibly more trans activists than actually trans people, I would say.
Well, I mean, he tweeted...
No.
What the fuck are you talking about? He literally called everyone to be able to assault trans women in the genitals, you fucking bad end.
Yeah, no, he definitely thinks that trans people are like an evil threat, just intrinsically. Like that's such nonsense. That's true. He is also 6'5", so maybe having at least a couple of coppers would probably be.
And also, like, anyone who says trans activist, they mean all trans people.
Yeah.
They mean all like every trans person. As soon as we spend like 5 seconds speaking about our lives, our rights, our access to healthcare, we immediately get branded a trans activist. You can't exist as a trans person because everyone fucking attacks you.
Fair enough. Not fair enough that happens. Fair enough that you made the point. Thank you, Nick the Peasant, for 5 months. Much love.
Tweets like dozens of times a day about trans people, but I don't think it should be illegal to be a fruitcake, quite frankly. All right, I think that of the 3 tweets which caused a problem, one of them could be interpreted as incitement, maybe. The other 2, I think, were offensive and vile, but again, not a case.
Maybe. How maybe? It's explicit.
Yeah. I don't like this, Ash. Yeah, you don't need to hedge your bets here.
The police, and unfortunately this is part of a broader picture of the police getting involved where I think they shouldn't, and unfortunately this has had the blessing of this Labour government. I think the prescription of Palestine action and the arrests of people for holding up placards saying I support Palestine action.
Whoa. You'll never hear me say that sentence.
I can't believe she said it. She's terrorist.
Blatant terrorist. I would never say I support Palestine.
She's doing
action.
a terrorism.
Literally, on one of the trusted institutions of this nation.
Genocide is a disgusting misuse of public resources. I don't think anyone in their right mind really thinks that, an 80-year-old retired GP is a serious terrorist sympathiser. And I think it's
The police did. The police also arrested and removed someone wearing a I support plasticine action t-shirt. I think they might be abusing their powers a little. What say you?
It's quite literally crazy.
Yeah, ridiculous nonsense. And they're not doing and it's so obvious they're not doing it because they think these people might be terrorists. They're doing it so they can arrest them and remove them so that their protest is smaller.
Imagine if they arrested someone like in West Ham because they were wearing a Hammers t-shirt.
To be fair, hammers can be used for terrorism. So, clearly, the supporters of West Ham United are basically like Al-Qaeda.
Of trying
but
to...
Only Doncaster like mass.
Yeah. I mean, their anthem is I'm forever blowing up bubbles. And I've only added one word to that. So...
dampen and close down on debate in a way which ultimately I think inflames things. Because if you make it impossible for people to articulate their politics in an open way, I think you just further radicalise them.
Nikki?
Well, just pick on that last point. I think there are ways to articulate your politics.
Okay, everyone go and follow Mix of More. But Viv says, and I don't want to throw any nonsense into the situation, you don't have to respond to this, but I'm going to read out verbatim her 2 messages. She says, the Navarro line on this is so fucking bad. And then, I'm going to talk to you guys and Curtis about the Navarro situation at some point. I don't necessarily want to do it publicly either, but the camel's back was broken a while ago for me with these people.
I mean, I certainly disagree with both James and Ash on this subject. Although Ash has clearly said it's at least approaching incitement, right? But somebody pointed out, actually, the audio of Gremlin's arrest, he was trying to justify punching trans women to the police. So if he said that then, like, that puts paid to the idea that he thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
If he was trying to justify the tweet that he said to the police during the arrest, right?
Yeah, basically, yes. Yeah.
Politics that don't cross over into either hate speech or being against another group. I think, and I think we do have a tradition in this country of allowing people.
Okay, but how does specifically targeting a minority group with physical and sexual violence, how is that not hate speech? how is that
hate
possibly?
speech. It's hate. It's inciting hate crimes. Like,
Yeah.
because hate speech isn't illegal anyway. In a lot of cases, you can say hate speech as much as you want, as long as it's not an incitement. That's the issue.
Yeah, you basically you are sort of allowed to be a bit racist, or even a bit transphobic, but you can't specifically call for violence against people because that's obviously bad and illegal.
Exactly.
People to say what they think, but there has to be a line, and whether it's Graham Linehan's tweets or whether it's what people are saying about obviously what's happening in Gaza, for example, I think my answer to this question is the law too restrictive on free speech? No. But what we are confusing in all this coverage is the difference between free speech, as in what's put on in Online Safety Act, which I was very involved with, which is the sort of conduct of the platforms, and things that are hate speech. And I think what people forget sometimes is that one person's ability to have free speech then it can incite other people towards conduct that does tip over into crime. So I do think, I'm afraid, that there is a role for the police, perhaps, or in other cases it might be.
As if we condemn hammers, we condemn Hamas. Oh, the joke was right there, Kev. I'm tired. I'm sorry, chat.
Well, at least the fucking Tory here, at least the ex-Tory, is out here making the point.
Yeah.
Literally making the point, saying, look, the line is, if you incite stuff that's violent, that's not okay. And yeah, she's correct. It was correct when it came to Lucy Connolly, and it's correct when it comes to Graham Linehan, and it's worse. I mentioned before, like, it's what Graham Linehan tweeted out was worse than what Lucy Connolly tweeted out. I will stand by that.
Yeah, I mean, basically it was. Yeah, I mean, you can argue the context of the fact that riots were currently ongoing affects the balance of that, but yeah, I mean, I mean, the key distinction here is that the Lucy Connolly tweet was a generalized "do it, see if I care," right? You do it, you can burn these things down for all I care. It was a generalized throwaway comment. This was a direct call to action. Yeah. And you know for a fucking fact he wants that to happen. Like, I can't prove that, I can't crawl inside the man's mind, but I know full well that he actually does support that action taking place. Because he's a fucking nutter. Who actually is, like, obsessed to the, frankly, a dangerous extent. He has actively ruined his entire fucking life for the hatred of one group of people. Do you think he'd stop at punching them in the dick? No.
Exactly.
He's fucking suicide bombed his own career. Like, he's not going to stop at violence. What are you talking about? Or stop at calls to violence, I should say.
As a regulator, it's a different issue to think about what's out there. Is it a good use of police resources to have 5 armed policemen arresting somebody off a plane from the US? The answer is clearly not. And there are ways in which actually Graham Linehan could have been questioned. I don't know. I have a feeling, as you say, that he does this quite a lot, and I suspect there's a pattern there. And it may well be that there have been other conversations with the police which have not resolved matters, and therefore that was why they took.
Well, I think his
to
argument is that there's some ex-police officer who's got it in for him who constantly complains about him. And I think here, surely, I mean, Harriet, maybe you can answer this, former Solicitor General.
You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of the Lisa moment from the H-bomb video about Control Alt Delete, right? Like, you can't admit that you're ever at fault, so there's always some mythical Lisa from the room in the background trying to get you. Because, the Graham Linehan's fucking mental. Like,
let me guess, Graham. Is this ex-police officer trans? Are they a trans person? Are they in the room with us now? Are they telling you to burn things?
I mean, the police have got to deploy common sense, haven't they? And there are too many of these incidents where they don't deploy common sense, and they put so many resources into them. And I mean, somebody could write a book. In fact, I think people have written books about it. Andrew Doyle, I think, wrote one where over the years there have been too many of these incidents where you could legitimately say the police have approached it in the wrong way.
Well, it does seem the idea that 5 police officers, with all the drama of arresting him as he arrived back in the country, but we don't know what the background was. Your immediate thought is, why didn't they just send him an email or call him up and ask him to come for an appointment, but we don't know what the background was.
Well, we do.
But
We know.
obviously-
We've seen the tweets that they arrested him because.
No, but we don't know what their prior interaction with him was, which led them
think
to,
it's all
instead
quite
of doing
public.
something. But instead, do we know
Also,
about whether or not they?
Well, yeah, I mean, literally, you can't scoff at that because, like, if in a previous interview with the police, he talked about, oh, no, actually, I don't really care about violence against trans people. His then defence of this was a joke would obviously be completely null and void.
Totally true, totally true. Although what I'm frustrated is that no one at any point during this discussion has made any comparison to any other minority, right? Like, just if you did ever tweet it out, you should punch Jews. Do you think they'll be giving this level of debate, or would it be instantly just condemned, like it would if it was any other minority?
Yeah, exactly.
Justifiably as well.
Yeah, you could probably say it about Muslims. You can probably just about get away with it with Muslims, I think. Or let's say call them like migrants or something, and you're probably fine because that's just allowed apparently.
Tried to make an appointment with him, because if their first thing was to arrest him instead of trying to make an appointment with him, I think that is quite odd.
Well,
But
as far as I know, that was exactly what happened.
Well, that is odd.
Yeah.
Especially 5 of them.
I know.
I mean, it's like, free speech is obviously incredibly important and has to be protected, but it has its limitations. So you can't claim free speech if you incite, as Nikki said, incite violence, which then is used against somebody else. So that's a limit on free speech.
Okay, Lyle.
And in terms of Palestine...
Sorry.
Okay.
I thought you were finished.
Oh, well, I was just going on to Ash's point about Palestine Action. It's basically not that you can't say I'm against genocide in Palestine. It's that because Palestine Action is prescribed as a terrorist organisation, supporting them...
Yeah, exactly. You can't say I support Palestine Action. You can't say it. Don't say it, Jack. You can't.
I think that broadly the discussion here is about the kind of ins and outs of terrorist prescription legislation, right? So I think that the curtailing of free speech in regards to it goes too far.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we shouldn't have prescription legislation. I think it's perfectly reasonable to have some groups that you do prescribe. 100% reasonable. Like, do you think we shouldn't prescribe Boko Haram and the Taliban? Perfectly reasonable to do so, but how you curtail people's perceived support for them, like just saying I support the Taliban or Boko Haram, shouldn't be enough to send you to prison, right? Material support.
You will never hear me, chat. You'll never hear me say I, Kevin Logan, support Boko Haram. You'll never hear me say it. I won't say it.
Well, exactly. But that's the thing, is that the ways in which it curtails the way you talk about it is a problem, even though you should have prescription.
Yeah.
And the other side of this is that they shouldn't be prescribing fucking Palestine Action.
Well, exactly.
They're not terrorists.
Exactly, because they're not terrorists, and that's sort of one of the points. But also, like you say, I think there's a difference between someone, like I do that joke about saying you can't say the thing, right? That's obviously not me saying yay terrorism. Whereas there's obviously a difference between that and someone saying I'm going to join ISIS. Because that's a clear, obvious piece of pro-terrorism activity taking place.
Exactly.
So the idea that the police are so they can't possibly parse out the difference between a disabled guy in a wheelchair with a t-shirt on and say a guy filming a fucking beheading video. is mental. It's obviously bullshit. They're doing it to curtail freedom of speech because they don't like the particular speech in question, because it's embarrassing for them to have their genocide that they are doing brought to the public's attention every day.
And unlawful.
Do you think that's right, though?
We're
going off the subject a little bit on
let's-
this, if you don't mind.
So,
Lionel,
this country is turning itself into a laughing stock. The idea that an Irish comic is apprehended by 5 armed police officers at the airport over a tweet that was 5 months old, which...
Oh, it was 5 months old, that's fine then. Apparently the statute of limitations on crime is 4 months. You're a fucking knobhead. I was saying, Lionel Barber, you're a knobhead.
is clearly absurd, fruitcake in quality, I mean, this is ridiculous. You
It
can't
sounds so
see.
odd. You think it can't be right, though. Yeah.
But you can't. It happened. There were 5 police officers there. You can't see 5 police officers in the street on the beat.
Very
I
true.
witnessed a Chinese tourist outside my apartment in central London have their phones and wallet taken by people on bike. This is
those two things are not remotely connected. You realise that the anti-terrorism or whatever the fucking squad would be are not going to be dealing with that kind of criminality. Like, it's not the same fucking process. Oh my god. Also, like, again, it rules for thee and not for me. This is something that could affect me, so I don't want the police getting involved.
And again, people just not pointing out here, as was pointed out in my chat here, that they are armed because they're in an international airport. They were the police that were there at the airport. They weren't like special forces, like the special fucking Twitter brigade drafted in specifically for Graham Lineker. No, they were police who were there who had arms. It's an airport because they were the ones at the airport. Because there's always police at the airport because it's a fucking airport.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and of course, yeah. No, he was already fucking charged with harassment and criminal damage against the trans woman, wasn't he? Which technically he hasn't been found guilty of at time of recording.
No,
like
that's an ongoing trial. We would not like to prejudice.
Yeah, exactly. It does suggest certainly a pattern of behaviour of, let's say, a lack of cordiality toward trans people, which would make these quote unquote joke maybe seem like not so much of a joke.
Quite.
Crime in London. The police need to be tackling those sorts of issues. They say they're constrained.
He's in court tomorrow for his attack on a minor. That's a minor as in a child, not someone who like digs coal. Because for a start, there are none of those left in the fucking country anyway.
Yeah, the person who he was charged with harassment and criminal damage against was 17 at the time.
Right. Oh God Almighty. So a 6'5" bloke allegedly attacked a child, or a minor, technically, I suppose. They were over 16.
Which I could say child, under 18's child, yeah.
Yeah,
legally.
like that's again the idea that this
allegedly. He's allegedly.
Like the idea that this man is so completely like he would never call for violence against anybody. He's a good boy. He's a fucking nutter who's eviscerated his entire life and family and career because of his hatred.
It just shows you again that this should be the accepted minority. Again, if this was, he said, you should go out and punch Jewish people.
Yeah.
Do you think that anyone on this panel would be saying, well, the police have got better things to do than talk about whatever this guy is doing? And I'm like, no, well, you can't just call for violence.
Yeah. Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, no, I can hear you. Sorry.
The law probably, in this sense, certainly is an ass. But the fact is, Ian, you've hit the nail on the head. You should hit somebody on the head. Maybe not. I don't want to incite violence here.
Careful.
Five police officers will be at the door.
Yeah, can you imagine?
No, but there's
I have had police officers at the door during a radio show once, but that's another story.
But very simply, I mean, look, this is about applying common sense. They're not. This is a complete distraction. It's doing immense damage.
Well, in the interest of being rewarded with a biscuit, let's go to a follow-up call on this subject with Dominic in Chelsea. Dominic, go ahead. Hi.
Good evening, Ian and panel. My question is Nigel Farage a hypocrite or a traitor or both for heading to the United States and complaining about how the UK government handles free speech?
Harriet.
I'm just asking.
I don't think he's a traitor for doing that. I think he's a hypocrite and a piece of shit and should be fucking suspended from Parliament, potentially. I don't know. But, like, he doesn't do his job. Also, literally, how is he going to get on with being Prime Minister? He doesn't even go to fucking Clacton.
Just again, it's just going to America to complain about our free speech because of, like, Lucy Connolly and Graham Linehan when fucking they did direct incitement to violence. And, in my opinion, they did direct incitement to violence. And yet he's going to a country.
Well, Lucy Connolly definitely did do. Legally, we can say that.
She admitted to it.
Yeah.
She admitted to it. Yeah, she admitted to it. And she's going to a country where people get fucking dragged off the streets for articles criticising the government's foreign policy.
Yeah.
Like, free speech definitely doesn't cover incitement to violence, and free speech doesn't cover you getting banned off of Twitter. Well, what it absolutely does cover is protecting you from government overreach for criticising government fucking policy. That's the whole point of freedom of speech legislation, is to protect people from the government cracking down on them for criticism of the government.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't have a proper democracy, and that's what the Trump campaign did to fucking Rumeysa Öztürk and Mahmoud Halil.
Yeah. And you might find yourself in a Guatemalan torture prison as well if you happen to
Or
speak.
Guantanamo Bay.
Guantanamo Bay. If you happen to speak out in ways that the government doesn't like. But,
It's literally, like, they were saying they wanted to send terrorist sympathisers to Guantanamo, i.e. people who are sympathetic to Palestine.
Yeah. Also, little interesting one, considering how much he cares about women and girls, he's over there glad-handing with a rapist. Donald Trump.
Yeah, literally, a civilly charged rapist.
Yeah. A man who admitted to raping and domestically abusing his wife. That was in the divorce settlement. Affidavit, I think it is, which he signed onto, in which he didn't contest her version of events. So, there's that. Also happened to be Jeffrey Epstein's best mate for years. Just say. But, he definitely cares about the women and girls.
Asking the question.
Okay.
Do you want to start with somebody else?
Lionel.
He's not a traitor. He doesn't deserve to be locked up in the Tower of London. He's grandstanding. Yeah. He's sucking up to Trump. He's sucking up to the free speech.
Thank you, Mr. Mule, for the raid. Welcome in. Make sure to follow the channel if you like UK-based socialist politics. I'm here with Kevin Logan, who also does UK socialist-based politics, who should also follow. We are watching Ash Sarkar on Cross Question currently, and we also both have YouTube, so please search us on YouTube too. Thank you very much for the raid, Arena.
Each tech bros
and betraying his
money
country.
For. Well, I think he's dissing, he's discrediting the country. He's not completely wrong about.
Did this guy just say dissing? Come on now, homeboy. Let's
some gangsters dissing your fly girl. Give him one of these.
Exactly. This man's spitting bars. Love it.
Speech for the reasons we talked about.
No, but he didn't point out that Trump does exactly the same. If you want to get a visa to go to America, they want to know your social media record.
But that is correct. But that's not necessarily a treacherous.
Well, hopefully, Trump is too ill to come to Britain. That would be good.
Oh my fucking god, yes.
That would be good.
That'd be beautiful.
I mean, he's definitely already dead anyway, but the reanimated, they've got some sort of Frankenstein situation going on. They can't fly that overseas. Surely not.
Actually, I'm not defending Nigel Farage.
Sounds to me as if you are.
Well, I think he's He's discredited his country, he's talked down his country, he's hypocritical, just as Trump's hypocritical on free speech. And I won't be voting Reform UK either, just in case you ask.
You surprise us all. Nikki.
Well, the irony, of course, is that when this particular Republican congressman and colleagues came over in the summer, and one of them in the meeting tried to say something critical about Trump, Nigel Farage shut him down and said, no, we're not talking about that. So, his limits on free speech, apply to what he thinks, but not what anybody else thinks. And that's the hypocritical bit. I mean, probably a traitor is going a little bit too far. I mean, the bigger question is, MPs have just had quite a long recess. This is the first week back. It's Prime Minister's questions. Why was he not in the House of Commons today? When was he last in the constituency? Why is he grandstanding over in the US? I mean, this is clearly a bandwagon that he thinks, yet another one, that he's going to jump on around free speech, rather than many of the other issues that I think people want to hear politicians.
I mean, I did call him a traitor earlier in the programme, and I don't take it back. And I quite like Nigel Farage personally, but when you go to a foreign country and give evidence before a congressional committee, which effectively has the effect of saying, well, you might want to impose a few more tariffs on us, and that might persuade the British government to make free speech.
What a strange man Ian Dale is. I quite like Nigel Farage personally, but I think he's a traitor. It's a very weird juxtaposition. You can't seriously hold those two fucking things in your head, surely.
Especially not when you're a self-admitted conservative and believe in the primacy of the nation state, right?
Yeah,
You're a traitor to the
patriot
nation state
of
you
some
hold
kind.
dear.
Yeah. Very strange. But anyway, so he's pro-traitor. Okay, I mean that's interesting. Cool.
Certainly a position.
It is. Well, it's a series of positions. Yes.
Mm.
In our country, I do regard that as traitorous. Ash.
I think that Nigel Farage is definitely a hypocrite. I think that
usually
his
traitor is like when you conspire with an enemy. Now, America, in a certain sense, is an enemy, but it's not literally an enemy. We're not actually at war or about to go to war with America. In theory, we're allies. In theory, we're nuclear fucking allies. So the idea that he's conspiring with an enemy, I think, is a bit much. I don't think you can realistically hold that down as an argument. He's a piece of shit, and he's like, to some extent, sort of betraying the cause he claims to support, which is like British nationalism or whatever. But I don't think he's a traitor. That's quite a serious legal claim, which I don't think you can back up.
actions are currently not in the interest of his country, the country that he claims to love so much. But I think that traitor is just that step too far.
Yeah, exactly.
I really do. And we're in danger of agreeing too much on this panel. I think one of the...
Not with me, you're not.
I mean, it's the first time Ian's ever been way out there. Hang on a second.
You've disappeared into the Thames.
I'm normally the moderate one.
No, you're the spice in the soup tonight. Yeah. That's what you are. You're the spice in the soup. But I think when it comes to Nigel
when has Ian Dale ever been the spice of anything? He's the whitest man ever. He looks like he takes seasoning out of his chicken.
Like he only has a problem with curtailment of freedom of speech when it's people that he regards in some way as being on his side. So when it came to,
well, he's not alone in that, to be fair.
Well, no, I think lots of people are hypocrites, right? And I think all of us have our biases and prejudices, which mean we turn a blind eye to our own side in various ways. But I think that when it comes to Trump and JD Vance, I mean, on the one hand, they're decrying, the case of Lucy Connolly. I think that it was a too harsh a sentence, but she did plead guilty to the most serious offence. Like that is what happened. So on the one hand, you've got Lucy Connolly becoming a cause célèbre for the global hard right, but on the other hand, you've got Trump and JD Vance using immigration enforcement to target pro-Palestine protesters on campuses across America and detaining, new father Mahmoud Khalil for weeks, if not months. So I think that going to America to decry Britain's attacks on freedom of speech is to sort of, go into a steakhouse and be like, what about vegetarianism?
Amazing nails, by the way. Absolutely.
They are excellent. She always does have very, very strong nail game. It is true.
You're going to the source of the problem.
But let's look at the bright side. All of the opposition parties to Reform UK are going to use those clips in the election and say this man does not believe in his country.
Well, Mohammed, Dominic, thank you for provoking a very good
and honestly,
discussion.
I don't think any of Nigel Farage's voters will give much of a fuck. I don't think they're voting for him on that basis anyway.
It is interesting to see that when you poll Reform voters, the things that they trust Reform least on are their closeness with Trump and their closeness with big business. It's funny because, of course, Labour will attack them on their closest with Trump, but Labour are also bootlicking Trump, so they can't do that. Yeah. And they would attack him on his closest with big business, but they're also close with big business, so they can't do that either. Yeah. So their entire attacks are down to his crackdowns on migrants are not as efficient and sensible as ours, and that will not work.
Let's go to the news at 8:32 with Daryl Jackson while I consume my chocolate digestive.
The Prime Minister's backed his deputy Angela Rock's situation and not tram derailed and crashed in Liverpool.
Is there anything good to watch for the last segments?
The last segment is: will immigration attitudes change?
Oh, fuck, I can't be last comment. Migration? Still that? What's the last one?
And should under 16s be sold energy drinks?
Well, no, I can't ask any of that shit.
No, fuck that. But I thought we never talked about immigration in this country.
You're not allowed to.
That's literally all we ever fucking talk about.
It's just bane of my life. Just endless discussions of migration over and over and over and over again.
Literally. But don't worry, we've got like ministers with 25 different types of bunting in their house, so it's absolutely fine.
Oh dear.
Yes. Who is going? My left eye is going on YouTube, so I'm going to send people over
Yes,
there.
I will send people over there as well. And I think I will send people into Raptor Blue over on the YouTubes. On the Twitches, Twitch arenas, rather, sorry. On Twitch.
Raptor. I can't see them. There you go. I got you. Okie doke. Go and say hello to them. And I'll be back tomorrow. I think I'll do a slop one tomorrow. I think I'll do some silliness.
As I am Novaring tomorrow, so I will not be here. So you can enjoy plenty of Kev Slop, my viewers. I encourage you to go and watch.
If you want serious politics, go and check out the Navarra thing. And if you want to watch
only an hour of it.
Fucking screaming at somebody who got history wrong, then you can join me for that. Anyway, everyone go and follow No Justice on all the platforms.
Do likewise with Kevin Logan. Free Palestine.
Free Palestine. Bye.
Bye.
Welcome in, Brody.